In the annals of history, characters have risen and fallen. Battles have been won and lost, and tales of heroism and cowardice have been woven into the very fabric of our shared human narrative. As we embark on this exploration, it is imperative that we first delve into the meaning of cowardice. The shadows of cowardice have often been cast upon those who falter in the face of adversity, those who retreat when met with challenges, or simply those who do not act due to overwhelming fear. Historically, societies have considered cowardice as not just the lack of courage, but also as a moral failing. Psychological frameworks sometimes interpret it as an overwhelming sense of self-preservation, sometimes overriding moral or ethical stances. Yet, cowardice, like all human traits, is complex. It is not just about the absence of bravery, but also about understanding the presence of certain fears and insecurities. Musashi's viewpoint. If we turn the pages back to the era of feudal Japan, a figure stands tall against the backdrop of warriors, swordsmen, and samurais. His life, punctuated by duels, solitary travels, and deep introspection, offers an invaluable lens to understand cowardice. Musashi, for whom every duel was as much a mental battle as a physical one, might not have viewed cowardice as mere fear. To him, it might have represented a lack of preparation or understanding, an inability to face one's own self. In his teachings and writings, one could infer that the true cowardice was in not seeking to understand, not striving for improvement, and not facing the internal demons that held one back. As we venture further, let's take Musashi's hand and journey into the heart of cowardice to confront, understand, and perhaps conquer it. With this understanding, we set the stage for Musashi's era, an era where swords clashed, honor was paramount, and the line between bravery and cowardice was razor thin. Stepping back into the turbulent times of feudal Japan, the air was thick with tension. Political upheavals, territorial disputes, and personal vendettas painted the landscape in a grim hue. In this setting, the samurai emerged, not merely as warriors, but as symbols of courage, honor, and discipline. Their lives were a dance with danger, an embodiment of living on the edge. For the samurai, each day could bring a challenge to their honor, which often meant a duel to the death. Whether navigating the political intrigues of their lords, battling rival factions, or simply living up to their code, their lives were a testament to facing fear on a daily basis. Donning their armor, sharpening their katanas, and practicing their martial forms were as much about preparing the body as they were about steeling the mind. The anticipation of a potential challenge, the very essence of their lives, meant that they were perpetually in proximity to fear. And in this environment, a single misstep or moment of hesitation born from cowardice could spell doom. Musashi's stand. Amid this volatile world, Miyamoto Musashi charted his path. While many of his contemporaries might have wielded their swords in service of a lord or in pursuit of personal glory, Musashi's journey was different. He faced fears, yes, but he did so with a perspective sharpened by introspection and philosophy. Each duel he entered wasn't just a test of his skill, but a confrontation with his inner self. Fear, to him, was an adversary to be acknowledged and then disarmed. Through his writings and actions, it's evident that Musashi did not flee from fear, but rather faced it head-on, extracting wisdom from its depths. His response to adversity was neither rash bravado nor paralyzing fear, but a calculated strategy forged in the fires of self-awareness. With Musashi's perspective in mind, the line between bravery and cowardice becomes less about the absence of fear and more about one's response to it. As we weave deeper into his life's tapestry, let's delve into the nature of this response and the philosophies that shaped it. In the dawning chapters of Musashi's life, we find a raw, unrefined warrior still seeking his place in the world. A world dominated by seasoned samurai and established schools of combat. As a budding fighter, Musashi wasn't exempt from the trepidation that often haunts beginners. Tales whisper of times he faltered or seemed unsure, momentarily eclipsed by the shadows of more seasoned warriors. But every duel, every confrontation was a lesson, not just in combat, but in confronting oneself. The shift, an evolution was underway within Musashi. There wasn't a singular dramatic moment, but a series of encounters and introspections that nudged him forward. Gradually, the youthful hesitations were replaced by a strategic calm. The raw energy was channeled into precision, and fear was redefined, not as a crippling force, but as a compass, pointing toward growth. In this transition, Musashi laid the groundwork for the legend he would become. His early battles served as the anvil upon which his spirit was forged, leading him to a path less traveled, a journey within. Training the mind beyond physical battles, the art of combat isn't restricted to a blade's edge. For every external enemy Musashi faced, he recognized an internal counterpart. The line between physical and mental realms blurred for him, revealing the interconnected dance of swordplay and psyche. As we trace Musashi's journey, we come to understand that for him, true prowess wasn't just in mastering a weapon, but in mastering the mind. In his writings and teachings, he emphasized cultivating a mental resilience as robust as steel. He trained incessantly, yes, but he also meditated, contemplated, and reflected, nurturing an indomitable spirit. Every swing of his sword was also a swing at the frailties and doubts that clouded the mind. To Musashi, the most formidable adversaries were not always those who stood opposite him in battle, but those that lurked within. Anxiety, overconfidence, anger. These were challenges as real as any physical opponent. His techniques were not just about movement and precision, but also about self-awareness. By isolating himself, he honed his ability to confront these inner shadows, wrestling with them until he emerged as their master. Yet, Musashi knew the path was ongoing. Every day presented a new chance to wrestle with the self, to mold the mind, and to prepare for battles both seen and unseen. This philosophy saw him not merely as a warrior, but as a sage, understanding that the battleground of the mind is as vast and complex as any in the outside world. As we delve deeper, we see how Musashi's journey into the mind's expanse laid the foundation for his most significant triumphs. The Niten Ichi Ryu, Musashi's dual-blade philosophy. Emerging from the dense forests of introspection, Musashi crystallized his revelations into a style of his own, the Niten Ichi Ryu, or the two heavens as one style. This wasn't just a testament to his prowess with the sword, but a manifestation of his understanding of the delicate balance between the physical and the metaphysical. The dual blades, at first glance, symbolized Musashi's unrivaled skill. However, a deeper look reveals more. One blade slashed at the world outside, the tangible threats and challenges. The other cut through the nebulous world within, dissecting fears, doubts, and hesitations. Together, they represented his commitment to mastering both external battles and the internal wars of the soul. Musashi's practice went beyond the martial. The two swords became a philosophy, a dance of action and introspection. As his physical blade found rhythm in combat, his metaphysical blade found resonance in silent meditation and contemplation. It was this equilibrium, this synchronization of movement and mindfulness, that elevated him from a mere fighter to a philosopher-warrior. This balanced approach became the lighthouse guiding Musashi through the stormy seas of life, and as we navigate further, it will illuminate how this philosophy can guide us in confronting cowardice head-on. Solitude as strength, embracing loneliness. As the rhythm of the two blades danced in harmony, Musashi found another potent ally in his journey against cowardice, solitude. The same philosophy warrior who wielded two swords often chose the silence of isolation over the din of society. But why? Much like his dual blades that served a purpose beyond mere combat, Musashi's deliberate retreat into solitude wasn't an escape, but a strategic choice. He believed that distancing oneself from external influences was vital to truly listen to one's inner voice and confront internal fears. The world's noise often masks our internal whispers, and by stepping away, Musashi ensured he heard every murmur of doubt, every scream of fear, addressing them head-on, from loneliness to empowerment. But Musashi's solitude was not one of desolation or sadness. Instead, he turned isolation into empowerment. Alone with his thoughts, he engaged in introspective battles, refining his spirit and sharpening his inner blade. Every bout of solitude made him stronger, more resilient, forging a will that would remain unbroken in the face of adversity. This mastery over solitude would prove pivotal as Musashi continued to evolve, intertwining his inner strength with the philosophies he adopted, guiding him on how to eradicate cowardice from its very roots. Strategy over strength. Emerging from the profound reflections of solitude, Musashi's approach to combat and life evolved. It wasn't just about mastering one's own fears, but anticipating and understanding the fears and intentions of others. Thus, his focus shifted from sheer might to the might of the mind. Thinking ahead, Musashi realized that true strength was not just in confronting fears, but in preventing them. By thinking several steps ahead, a warrior can anticipate potential threats and challenges. Such foresight mitigates fear, as the unknown is often what terrifies us most. By becoming familiar with the potential outcomes and preparing for them, one can turn apprehension into anticipation. Musashi's strategic brilliance. His duels are testament to this. There were instances where Musashi would arrive late, purposely to unnerve his opponent. Other times, he employed strategies that seemed unconventional, like using an oar instead of a sword. But in each case, his actions were deliberate, aimed not just at defeating his opponent's physical form, but their mind. By employing cunning and strategy, Musashi showcased that it wasn't just about overpowering an opponent but outthinking them. Through such intellectual maneuvers, he demonstrated that understanding and strategy could quell fear far more effectively than brute force. As he progressed in his journey, Musashi's philosophies further evolved, showing that overcoming cowardice wasn't just about confronting fear, but reshaping one's entire perspective towards challenges. Embracing impermanence, accepting the transience of life. From Musashi's strategic insights, we discern a deeper understanding, one rooted in the samurai code itself, the acceptance of life's fleeting nature. The samurai lived by the sword, always teetering on the precipice of mortality. By acknowledging this, they could live without the debilitating fear of death. Musashi, too, recognized this truth. His confrontations were not just battles against adversaries, but against the pervasive fear of death. In understanding and embracing impermanence, Musashi found the freedom to act without hesitation. By accepting death as an inevitable part of life, he could face any situation head-on. This knowledge acted as a liberating force, enabling him to take bold actions without the shadows of doubt and cowardice. For when one truly understands the fleeting nature of life, the chains of cowardice begin to break, giving way to a life lived with purpose and vigor. From here, we see that Musashi's philosophies weren't just about physical or strategic prowess, but also about a deeper spiritual awakening. Musashi's art, painting and sculpting. Following his understanding of life's impermanence, Musashi sought other mediums to channel his insights. Beyond the sharp edges of his swords lay the gentle strokes of his brush. Beyond the sword, despite his reputation as a formidable swordsman, Musashi was equally adept with the paintbrush. His artworks, much like his duels, were expressions of his innermost thoughts and emotions. Delving into art, Musashi confronted his fears on a canvas. Each painting and sculpture became a reflection of his battles, not against opponents, but against his inner demons. Through his creations, he found another way to face and overcome his fears, solidifying his belief that courage wasn't just exhibited in battles, but also in the soul's silent expressions. Drawing inspiration from his art, we are led to believe that confrontation isn't always physical. Sometimes it's an internal dialogue, waiting to be expressed. Cultivating resilience. From the contemplative strokes of his brush, we transition to another dimension of Musashi's character, his undying resilience. Throughout his journey, both on the battlefield and in life, Musashi faced challenges and setbacks, but like the strokes on his canvas, he took each defeat and transformed it into a lesson. Not all of Musashi's battles ended in victory. There were encounters that left him humbled, perhaps even wounded, not just in body, but in spirit. Yet, it's crucial to recognize that these setbacks were instrumental in sculpting the legend we admire today. Each loss was a chapter, a story in itself, that taught Musashi more about himself, his techniques, and his adversaries. What truly set Musashi apart was not his ability to win, but his capacity to learn, adapt, and bounce back stronger. With every setback, he delved deeper into his techniques, refining them, and sometimes even reinventing them. He sought perfection, not in remaining undefeated, but in ensuring that a defeat was never repeated. This resilience wasn't just in combat. It reflected in every sphere of his life, teaching us that setbacks are not the end, but rather stepping stones to mastery. In understanding this, we too can learn to turn our defeats into springboards for greater achievements. Modern interpretations, Musashi's teachings. Today, transitioning from the historic landscapes of Musashi's life, we are beckoned into the bustling streets of today. In a world significantly different from Musashi's era, one might wonder, how do his teachings find relevance? Yet the heart of his philosophy remains universal, forever pulsing with timeless wisdom. Even as skyscrapers replace castles and smartphones replace swords, the core challenges of the human spirit remain: fear, doubt, hesitation. These are battles we all grapple with. By interpreting Musashi's principles, we find tools and strategies adaptable for our modern existence. His emphasis on preparation, strategic thinking, and continuous self-improvement are just as essential in a boardroom as they were on a battlefield. Musashi's teachings aren't merely about overcoming foes, but about facing our daily challenges head-on. Whether it's a daunting job interview, an uncomfortable conversation, or simply the challenge of pushing past our limits, invoking the spirit of Musashi can guide us. By embodying his resilience, strategy, and relentless pursuit of mastery, we too can stride confidently into life's arenas, unburdened by the weight of cowardice. The real fight, conquering the self. Emerging from the shadows of our modern metropolis, we're reminded of an age-old truth. Often, our most formidable adversary isn't external, but the reflection staring back at us. Musashi, with all his skill and might, was no stranger to this internal struggle. But it wasn't just about mastering the art of swordsmanship. It was about mastering himself. Musashi's greatest enemy. Beyond the clanging of blades and duels under cherry blossom trees, Musashi's profound battles were with his inner self. The young warrior who once trembled before opponents grew to realize that his ego, impatience, and inner fears were foes even more potent than flesh and bone. They whispered doubts, bred hesitation, and threatened to derail his journey. In response, Musashi crafted an inner discipline as rigorous as his physical training. He believed in reflection, harnessing the lessons of both victory and defeat. By continuously confronting his limitations, he evolved, transitioning from raw potential to polished mastery. His isolation periods weren't just moments of rest, but intense self-interrogations, wherein he honed his spirit and purged cowardice. But how did he achieve this self-conquest? Through meditation and deliberate contemplation, through art, where each brushstroke became a dialogue with his soul, through writing, where he dissected his thoughts, fears, and aspirations, and through ceaseless practice, where he sought not just external prowess, but internal alignment and balance. It's a lesson we carry forward. The real battlefields lie within. Every choice, every hesitation, every step forward or retreat reflects our internal dynamics. But by emulating Musashi's unwavering commitment to self-mastery, we can rise, ready to face not just the world, but the intricate labyrinths of our psyche. The path ahead. As our exploration of Musashi's world and wisdom draws to a close, one truth stands undiminished. Bravery isn't an end, but a perpetual voyage. Every horizon reached only unveils further distances to traverse, each presenting its own set of challenges. Musashi, throughout his life, showcased that true courage was never about reaching a point where fear no longer existed. Instead, it was about moving forward despite it. With every duel, every introspection, and every brushstroke, he highlighted that bravery is an ever-evolving dance with one's fears. As the sun sets over these ancient tales, Musashi's silhouette remains, steadfast against the test of time. He's not just a legendary swordsman, but a beacon, guiding those willing to confront their own reflections. And as we navigate our modern labyrinths, may we harness Musashi's spirit, drawing strength from his lessons, and embracing the silent, relentless pursuit of our inner power.
Are you crying? Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in foosball.
You fucking cried after 3 days in the fucking holding tank. Looked like a fucking pile of wet rags at court. You should see how I showed up to court after 3 days in the box with the light on.
Please, is there anything I can do, sir? Please.
Does he look like a bitch? What?
Don't do this to my wife, man. You don't know what you're doing to my family, man.
Does he look like a bitch?
Sir, please don't make me sleep in jail tonight, sir. Please. I'm begging.
We're not criminals.
They're gonna make me sleep in jail.
Continue. You were saying something about best intentions?
Josh has never been arrested for recording.
Okay, so that's him getting arrested, and then his friend here makes a phone call that I want to touch on.
I'm somebody who I've not complied, I've not cooperated, I've been arrested over and over again, right? I've had to go to court without an attorney, with no credentials, and stand on what I believe to be the word of God and the truth, and I've got results. Tends to be when I meet people who talk about this what I consider to be false ideology of patriotism they've been uploaded with. Usually these are the same folks who tell me we're very courageous, we want to save the children, we're going to be idols and heroes, but they're not willing to sacrifice and go to jail and be activists and potentially have to sacrifice and give everything up to be given everything back. You all live in a matrix reality world where law comes from a contract, social contract. As far as I perceive it, God makes law, and the contract is a trust in God. That's why it's in God we trust. Law is not the same as statute, policy, and code, and law doesn't come about because we made some social pact and agreement. See, this is precisely my point. This clarifies the fundamental difference between us. And these folks are within an illusion, within an illusion, within an illusion, and can't recognize the illusion of self and creation for what it is, because it seems too far out and too crazy to them to be real.
We need to give up certain rights for the greater good of the whole, because that's what a communal society does. That's what the Constitution is. We give up certain rights in order to be able to live peacefully amongst a communal society.
So he can't even fundamentally determine what a right is, just in the sense of right action, right? If there's rights, then there's wrongs. So in his world, not having a connection to God / conscience locally, that's a good term for the clinical folks, conscience, him and others being conscienceless beings have to always refer to paperwork and don't know the difference objectively between right and wrong. And that's why they can't figure out what God is or have the experience of God or be trusting with equity and faith, right? They don't know common sense. They don't know the common law, because they think law comes from us all sitting around together and making agreements that we had a right yesterday to kill and rape, but today we're going to give up that right. Because in this new society, raping and killing is not wrong. It's either right or it's wrong. It's either true or it's false. Us laying eyes on it doesn't necessarily, or agreeing to it, change what is. And this is the fundamental difference between us. I work with what is, even if it can't be shown, right? And I talk to cause and effect, and I reverse engineer that. And this is why I can't debate with or get through to these folks who can't consider this idea of a godly experience or a universal order.
You must give up certain rights, your right to kill, or your right to assault, or your right to steal, or your assault, or your right to rape.
He did even more. See, they say I lie and I bullshit here. I only said 2. He gave 5 examples of wrong behaviors he thinks we naturally have a right to do. Hello, we're back at it, people. It's laundry day. Mr. Laundry's in the back. That's my bit. You know, I got to do my bit. I'm always more interesting and more important than everyone else here. Some people are into that. They kind of like that at times. Other people are triggered by that. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Mr. Landry, we're going to go right to you. Any questions, comments, concerns? I know you're on a deadline, it sounded like. You got a little bit of time and you got to get out of here.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk for a little bit. I don't know if we've talked a lot one-on-one besides that. Yeah, well, that one conversation there's several others there, but yeah, man, it's been a crazy week for me. It seems like a lot of things are going great. I do want to know where you stand on this whole thing, because I've heard a lot of different stuff where you've talked about, you know, what you're kind of envisioning for the world and what your role is, and then where you see the drama and that importance, and just where you stand now. Like, how are you feeling with everything going on lately?
Well, like I've said many times, it's the best of times, worst of times, right? That's how I consider it. We got statism, fascism, collectivism, just ensconcing the world. The whole world's in the hands of the dark one, but tends to be there's a light age, dark age cycle here in this realm. It is a looping environment on a micro and macro level, if you haven't noticed, right? And the way I try to correlate a lot of what I say to just regular stuff we can see. Sun goes up, sun goes down, sun goes up, sun goes down. A looping arena, right? So we wake up, we go to sleep, we wake up, we go to sleep. We eat 3 meals, we take one good, well, you know what, and we get back to it, right? So we're in an arena of a looping environment, so to speak, the snake with a tail in its mouth. And as we can see, if we study history, it's another looping environment, right? Things tend to loop. We go from greatness and success and prosperity and strength to impoverishment, disempowerment, dysfunction, weakness, sickness, disease. And essentially all this amounts to is a broken soul, right? So real quick, Landry, let me just touch on this. Try to get in where you fit in, because I also got to do audience engagement, especially when we're in the algorithm. And we're in the algorithm today, I can tell already. So Plumpy says, God bless Donald J. Trump. And that's why I made the video today the way I did. I'm going to let you guys in on it. You know, it's kind of a bait and switch, because, again, I am shadow banned from time to time. And sometimes the only way I can get in the algorithm is if I, use some keywords and some buzzwords that attracts the attention of the average viewer. They let me in for a little bit, right? Then you guys start saying stuff like this, and then I get to respond. So I am sort of playing you a little bit, but by playing you, I'm showing you how your government works as well, right? Because it does the same things I do in a different form. So Plumpy says, for one, he's tackling, meaning DJT, the Federal Reserve and the IRS. They've held Americans down now for quite a long time. Well, thank you, Plumpy, for getting duped and deceived and having your agents get out ahead of us so they can co-opt and rewrite the narrative. If that is happening, it only matters because the Americans are going to uphold the law of the land and do what's right. See? If not, then let's just say this is all Donnie Trump's doing. Well, he's going to use bills and policy and code. And then when he's out, someone else will be in and they'll go back to the old way and you'll comply. So let's get it clear. If Donnie Trump is doing these things, I have a belief. I'm choosing this belief. I'm not saying I would accept this about me and others here, but I'm choosing to err on the side of almost toxic positivity, right? But it makes sense to me. I can make it make sense. So if Donnie is doing these things, I have a belief it's very well possible. It's because I and many others on the ground, at least a few 100,000 of us, right? The scripture says 144,000 will enter the kingdom of heaven. It's a decent number. It's about 1 to 3%. If we're lucky, 1 to 3% started the revolution. 1 to 3% were able to see and feel and hear and talk. 1 to 3% didn't comply during scamdemic, right? Up to 30% is their numbers. I don't know if I'm buying that, but that would be great if that was the case. So if Donnie Trump's doing all this, it's because there's a grassroots movement, so to speak, in consciousness and awareness where universally, especially over the past decade, many of us have started to wake up and realize we're not supposed to be owned and ruled by corporations that are supposed to be there as public service accommodations, right? Because as we brought it up many times, we'll bring it up here quickly for the benefit of some of the new folks here. United States Code, that's straight from the United States Code. There's no other United States Code, right? So straight from United States Corporation, they wrote up a code to define who and what they are. Title 28 United States Code, 28 USC 3002 definitions. United States means 1A, a federal corporation, okay? So let me just show that because they'll say I'm lying. I made it all up. Go look it up for yourself. Go right to the US Code, okay? And go look up what a business is. It's defined as a United States citizen. Go look up what a U.S. citizen is. It's defined as a business instrumentality of the United States. Go look up what the United States is defined as. It's defined as a corporation. Okay, so we've been duped. We've been hoaxed. The definition of fascism and corporatism is when the state and corporate powers merge. Well, we did one better. We made a corporation our government. We didn't do it. We just fell for it. So there's been a corporate takeover. It makes sense. The founders all knew it. The reason that they created the constitutional contract was to try to protect our natural rights and stop the inevitable corporate takeover, which is now not only afoot, it's completely taken over. And the last 5 years proves it because they locked down everybody's businesses and told everybody to stay in the house and use statute, policy, and code to do it and enforced it through United States Corporation. Okay, so don't give me this crap about Donnie's our new daddy. You know, Donnie's the best daddy. This is what I see and hear when you guys say that. This is what I see and hear.
Daddy's home. Daddy's here. It's okay.
Creepy. The only thing creepier than that are the videos I have up there of Donnie Trump over and over again saying he's hiring teenagers to fuck them. This was a family broadcast, but I mean, we knew what I was going to do eventually, so let's get it out of the way up front. So yeah, okay, grassroots movements and consciousness and awareness, because we're in a looping cycle here, light age, dark age cycle. We've been so slaved out for so long that epigenetically, 100th monkey effect, some of us started to wake up. We started to do something different. We got results. It started to translate the collective consciousness of other men and women. They started to wake up, do different things, get results. We're now all realizing we had the power all along. Okay, this corporation's here to serve us. The reason it's treating us like slaves is because we're acting like slaves and we don't know the law. That's where I and others come in, okay? So we need to stop cooperating and complying. If these folks want performance from us, we need to demand the bonding where we signed or agreed to perform for this corporation or these corporations. If they don't have the adequate contracts and delegation of authority, then we need to sue these people after we get their claims dismissed. Okay, so the micro reflects the macro and vice versa. This is a holographic simulation. And that's precisely why I say I am that am is the answer, because my walk is not special. My journey is not different from everyone else's. I just decided to take the journey and go past my fear. And with my half a dozen results over the past 5 years, I've proven the concept I've just laid out. And there's more to come. We're just getting started. Okay. So hundreds and thousands of people across this land and across this world are done cooperating and complying. You can't put Pandora back in its box. So now Donnie and the rest of the political science majors and corporatist fascist slave masters or wannabe slave masters are going to have to figure out how to get out ahead of this movement, co-opt it and corrupt it and drive it into the ground. And their best people are working on it. Don't kid yourself. There's so much up here, Landry, that I got to go to. I don't want to overlook you. You got anything that you want to get in on here before I roll along?
I mean, maybe it's just not the best time. Maybe there'll be a better time where we can flow better. I don't want to. I think rushed conversations are always, unnatural. But in regards to what you've just said, I mean, yeah, I mean, is this still a thing? People are people still like defending Trump in your chat?
Yeah, it's never going to stop, right? The left-right politics seemingly is going to go on forever. It's political science for a reason. And these folks who run this corporation behind the scenes, the spirit that runs it, avatars it, understands the neurochemistry and the biology of human beings and how to hack that system. So many of them are under mind and heart control. They don't know that they are, and they just keep spouting the party line, and they're blissfully unaware, and they're going to stay unaware, most of them, because they prefer their comfort of ignorance, right? With ignorance, you get to live in denial. You don't have to meet life on life's terms. With acceptance of truth and what is, comes the expectation of accountability, responsibility, having to do work and change the dynamic. And these people are not only lazy, they're fucking cowardly, most of them. So they don't want to have to sacrifice and they don't want to have to go out of their way. But yes, it still goes on. It's going to continue to go on. But more and more as I and others show this for what it is, this understanding starts to exponentially pervade the collective consciousness of humanity. It's just a one day at a time thing. And by the way, we got Donnie Trump up there. Let's just get to it real quick, and then we can circle back. Key sections of the U.S. Constitution deleted from government's website. Isn't that interesting? August 6, 2025.
I was going to bring that up, dude, man.
John, I'm here, John. We're right here, and I see you. Hello, John. We love you. But we're right here, right? I am that am, oneself on the highest level.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Right. So several sections of the Article 1 of U.S. Constitution appear to have been removed from the official U.S. government website, as pointed out by sleuths on the internet, and as seen by TechCrunch. I'm sure it was all just one big mistaken accident. The changes were made in the past month, according to the Wayback Machine, which shows the full original text on Congress website of July 17th. Several Reddit threads identified the change in Article 1 U.S. Constitution. Large parts of Section 8 have been removed. Sections 9 and 10 have been deleted altogether. In the screenshot below, you can see the archive version of the site and the Wayback Machine on the left and the current site on the right. Text highlighted in yellow has been removed. What does it relate to? These sections largely relate to the powers that Congress has and does not have, as well as limitations on the power of individual states. The removal includes sections relating to habeas corpus, the powers that protect citizens from unlawful detention. And they tell me all about how Donnie's going to save them and keep everyone safe when he's up there doing lockdowns, Mr. Operation Warp Speed himself, sucking on Kissinger's ding dong and his team. He's surrounded by a bunch of small hat folks who are literally deleting parts of the Constitution. Okay. But we can't talk about that. We can't talk about that because there's an air of anti-Semitism nowadays as the state of Israel LARPing as Jews because they're actual Zionists, right? Using another corporation, shell corporation, to do expansionism. We can't talk about United States Corporation and United Kingdom and State of Israel and their continued staging of wars to do expansionism all over the world with their shell corporations. Because if you do, you're an anti-Semite, as the Kushners and the Kissingers and all the rest of them sit around Donnie Trump and continue to interfere with the rights of men and women around the world, but domestically, more importantly, okay? And the tards in chat who've been gamed and pimped. See, I was a conspiracy theorist for the last 10 years till the media started using actual conspiracy theories to supposedly educate the public. Now they're all running around saying there's conspiracy theories everywhere and it's okay, right? So Donnie's in QAnon. He's actually with the white hats. He's saving all of us. He's playing 5D chess, right? The lockdowns, the warp speed, the 80% of the population that took the shots. It's all part of a greater plan that he's unfolding. And so is deleting parts of the Constitution, don't you know? Specifically the parts about detaining U.S. citizens, which we know now means owing allegiance to a corporation, right? So you're literally saying I give up my natural rights for benefits and privileges with duties and obligations. Even with that, they're not legally supposed to slave you, but they said, we're going to go all the way with this. Everyone's doing commerce. Everyone's a commercial product. Everybody's part of the corporation headed in D.C., which isn't even a State of the Union. And we're going to delete the Constitution as well to stop people from going to court and saying, could you bring forth the body of evidence of loss, injury, and harm? See? So this is why Plumpy and others, I'm not buying it. I think Donnie's pimping and gaming on you because the spirit that inhabits him and his cabal up there knows how to get out ahead of these movements in consciousness and awareness and use deception to co-opt and misdirect. Okay, so they know we're not complying. They know we're effective at court. They know this house of cards is on his way down. So what are we going to do, Paulie boy? Well, we're going to make everyone who's illegal a terrorist, like they're doing with the immigrantes, right? If you're doing anything illegal, well, then you can't be on this land, and we got a concentration camp for you to sit at and get re-educated, right? And now we're going to delete parts of the Constitution that criminalize people from asking, where's the loss, injury, or harm, or bring forth the injured party, right? So again, I believe there's many of us on the ground who are the real white hat QAnons. We're getting results. They're hiring people like crazy up top and doing a whole bunch of psychological warfare and deceptions because they know we got the power for the first time ever. We got the ball and we're moving and getting results and slam dunking, right? So I'm not going to be afraid of that. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully these people are right. Donnie's got our back. He's just reflecting the minority of us from the top down, and he's doing what he needs to do to stop the interference from due process, upholding the law and exercising rights. I'll believe it when I see it. But so far, not a good report, folks. Not a good ruling from the Honorable Judge Unslavvius here for obvious reasons, right? The bump stocks, the warp speed, the lockdowns, the money to Israel, the money to Ukraine, the tariffs. Should we go to the tariff part? I got just one thing after the next here, man. Oh, yeah. Donnie says he's going to hold disaster prep dollars from cities and states as the floods and the fires are going crazy with all the new technology they're putting up. Just coincidentally, the floods and the fires are going crazy. And what does Donnie have to say in between saying there's no Epstein list? The Democrats made it up. Well, Donnie says if you don't support the state of Israel and you're an anti-Semite, he's going to hold back some funding from you when the invariable floods and fires come through your area. Supernaturally, of course. Randomly, of course. Coincidentally, of course, right? So don't criticize the state of Israel or you won't get your federal FEMA funding for the emergency, some might say, some folks somewhere are creating. So they can build highways and smart cities and bring in a new 6G grid with the fiber optic cables under the ground that they seem to be putting up everywhere you see fires and floods. I know, I was there on Ruidoso, New Mexico, when it happened there. We came back and there was 6G fiber optic cables under the ground sticking out all of a sudden. After a week of bringing the feds in, kicking everyone out, telling people they weren't allowed back in the town because it was just so unsafe. And when everyone returned, see, I didn't leave. I was one of the few who were the only one who didn't leave. It was like a ghost town. And when everyone returned, they just went right back to normal like they always do. But I saw what they did, digging up the trenches on the side of the roads, and I saw the wire sticking out by the end of it, with even signs that said, alluding to some kind of energy being pumped through there, some kind of wire. So I don't know what that all is. I'm not saying I do, but it always seems weird, all these coincidences. Department of Homeland Security funding guidelines indicate cities and states boycotting Israel companies would be ineligible for federal disaster relief. Oh, I love it. Give me more, man. Bend these slaves over and give it to them deep, Donnie, with Net and Yahoo and all the rest of them. Hold on, we have a caller here. 360, you're live, 1013 WSLV, your only home online for all things sovereign citizenry and slavery related. Go ahead, sir. Your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Paulie, it's Richard Nixon. I called you a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, the ghost of Richard Nixon. How are you? And I just want to be clear, he is not a crook.
Hey, I appreciate that. I try not to be. Well, I called you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Sure, you're good to go.
Okay. I called you a couple of weeks ago about the banking issue and UCC ones and all that. I was curious to see how you feel about the equity issue. The remedy and equity in court and then all that kind of stuff, mortgage and stuff. You can use equity if you're being sued, apparently, I hear.
Okay,
anyway,
equity, as far as I'm concerned, just means essentially it's a synonym for justice or giving what you want to receive, right? Bring forth what it is that you want to receive. That's my limited understanding of what equity is. So, like, for example, at a court case, if you want to be treated like an honorable, trustworthy, good faith man and be tried under God's law and the law of the land, well, then you're going to have to invoke that. If they don't know, just like here, right? We replicate. This is holographic reality, this universe is. So you really can't get far from self. We do the same thing here. If I bring someone on and they want to be deemed as credible, I'm going to ask them some questions or they're going to have to invoke a certain understanding for me to kind of get it and know that they get it. If they don't do that and they don't answer the questions properly based on some level of common law or common sense, we know we got a slave in front of us. We know we got someone who's fitting to be pimped on because they don't know how to govern themselves. There's only one set of understandings archetypally here that make a man or a woman fit to govern themselves. If they don't invoke that, they're presumed to be unfit to self-govern. That's why we have a representative democracy. And I don't deny it. I say it's spiritually absolutely what we need because the majority of folks who come to this broadcast, if I ask them, will testify they don't know what the law is. They don't know right from wrong objectively, and they couldn't govern themselves if their republic/democracy let them, because it has and they haven't. We've seen what they've done. Go ahead, sir.
They run from the truth, and that's the thing. And speaking of democracy and all that, I just watched the thing on Manly P. Hall. I'm kind of a follower of the esoteric type of all that kind of stuff because a lot of it does tie in biblically. People freak out and they yell about all that kind of stuff. But I was recently watching a thing on Manly P. Hall, and apparently democracy was kind of invented by FDR. And so like back in 1933, and like it was kind of like that's this whole democracy thing is like this really Masonic type of like Luciferian, if you will, depending on how you take that whole thing. I know a lot of people think that isn't what it is, you know what I mean? But it's like that kind of thing, and it's like that really kind of caught me cockeyed too. I was like, goodness, it's like it really is like, because I never follow into the Republican or the democracy or any of that. I'm just kind of
the deceiver is great at bringing forth concepts that sound good and are partially true, but lead to total ruination. Because again, we've proven over and over again throughout history that the masses are not fit to make decisions about ruling over themselves or other people. So because they don't understand the law of the land and don't pursue ideals like freedom, co-creativity, rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, they're not fit to vote or even have a comment on it. This is why for the longest time it was put forth the idea that women weren't allowed to vote because they didn't concern themselves with the affairs of politics and what the implications were, which is power and value. Okay? So unless you're a population who's on the up and up, who understands how life works and is like a fan of reality, life on life's terms, cause and effect, inherent hierarchical power and value systems, you're not fit to make a choice. So what does this thing do? It plays on everybody's heartstrings. Well, you don't want monarchy, do you? And aristocracy? No, of course not. We don't want to be someone else's property and be slaves. Okay, we have an answer. We're going to give everyone a voice and a choice. And of course, that's only as good as what they know. And what they know is only as good as the sources that they get. And the sources that they get that are pushed mainstream are all corruptions of the original. This thing rolls on. We know how this works. We know how to get, keep, and maintain and use power, false power or true power here on some level. We see how it all works, right? Just like people come in here, that's the gap between them and I. I have true power and value. I get results on the ground. I am somebody who's worthy of respect. The word respect means to take a second look at. U.S. corporation and its agents are going to take a second look at me for obvious reasons. The rest of you are harmless. This is why I say, don't call yourself, this is an old cliche. I've altered it yesterday on yesterday's thumbnail. Today, I'll give you a new version. Okay, don't call yourself civilized and sophisticated and don't act like it unless you're capable of being truly wild and free. If you don't have the capacity to be truly wild and free, you're not sophisticated and civilized. You're domesticated and harmless. Corporations that rule over you don't even give you a second look because you're not even part of the game. You're just a fucking placeholder. Okay? So the only way they take notice, like the bully on the block, is when you finally tell them, this is the line in the sand and I'm not going any further. So go ahead and do whatever you're going to do from here on out. Then you start to get into the conversation. Then they start to take note. Oh, we got a population of self-governing people here. They say this far and no further. They're actually proud of you. This is what people don't get growing up. The bully actually becomes proud of you at some point when you stop bending over to take it and stop giving all your lunch money. You finally stood for yourself and what was true and what's right. Thank fucking Christ or thank the devil.
And see, when you believe, like I said, I'm in kind of the esoteric stuff and all that, you know, when you believe and when you put that in the ether or the astral realm or whatever you want to call it, when you truly believe in whatever, it changes reality, man. I've seen that. I've literally seen that. Like when you're doing when you're going on a mission and you have that belief in whatever, it's like you can see reality change around you. You can see you walk down I've walked into almost traffic, man. I've walked into the street, looked around and just whatever, and just walked into, okay, here, I'm going to go left. I'm not even going to look, whatever. Hey, what do you know? There's no cars until after I go by, and then here comes the cars. You know what I mean? It's like the astral realm knows your intent, and it just kind of spreads if you're spiritual enough, and if you trust the Lord, or if you trust I believe it is Jesus Christ. I believe Jesus Christ is the way and the truth and the life completely, and there's no other way for him, right? And so once you understand that, and the esoteric, and see a lot of Christians, they pull it's only they don't look into it, right? And so it's like they kind of like do this like flippant, like, oh, I trust the Lord, but they don't even know what they're saying. I'm kind of into the esoteric, and so it's like I know. You see what I'm saying?
We need this concept of God. I as well myself have had many experiences that would be called the experience of God, I contend. But this is why we need the concept and the experience of God, because it allows one to either trust themselves or trust the process and stop trusting evil deceivers and misleaders. See, this is why America was great at one point, because it elevated God and truth above everybody and everything. We no longer have that. Okay. And that's part of common sense. So this person up there says, make America great again. He scrolled it 10 times. You're parroting. That's part of your blasphemy and humiliation ritual and mockery and sorcery. They're getting you all to repeat what they know you need while convincing you to do what you all and they want instead of do what you need. That's the blasphemy, humiliation, mockery ritual. The only way America is going to be great again is if men and women become great again. That means they're going to have to elevate God and truth above U.S. corporation and all of its misleaders and deceivers. Corporatism, fascism, statism is not the answer to make America great again. It is what has overthrown America and allowed it to become weak and foundationless again. Because revolution means complete circle, and we're on our way. Revolution means to evolve, complete circle. We're going right back to where we came from. A bunch of weak-ass statist, collectivist, autocratic cowards who can't be trusted to govern themselves or each other. And now They can either turn back the hands of time, right this ship, get right, do what's true and what's right, serve the truth, serve God, and therefore serve the people, or we're going kinetic as always. And I won't be part of it. I have to say that every time, because I believe potentially there are groups out there who are looking for people to say, we want militia, we want civil war, we want revolution, we want overthrow. I don't want none of that. I'm yapping 1,000 days straight to try to stop that, because I believe the only way to stop that is come out of her, my people. We have to exit Babylon and start living on the land properly. There's many folks who've kept the faith. They haven't changed their culture and society one bit, and that's why they're still free, and that's why they're not subject to statute, policy, and code, and they don't get licenses and registrations and insurance, and they move around however the fuck they want, and U.S. corporation doesn't say a damn thing to them till it comes to raid them for fresh milk, of course. Every once in a while, you got to get hit to raid for some fresh cow's milk to keep everyone safe. We know that, right?
No, so I'll tell a couple of stories if you don't mind, and then I'll ask you a question because I told you we're both redheads, and I feel there's a spiritual thing on that, right? I feel there's a, but anyways, I'll tell you a couple of stories. So the driving without a license thing, I've never had a license. I've never signed up for that. I've gotten pulled over a few times. I think both of the times I was very drunk, and nothing seemed to happen. And so, I can incriminate myself, whatever. I don't have any contract with any states at all. I've never voted. I'm one of those people that have literally people like in the statist or not the statist, the state national type of thing. They talk about contracts and stuff a lot. Like I literally have zero contracts, man. Like I have zero, absolutely zero. Work for myself, nothing's happened, right? And so I've been pulled over a few times, and this last time I got pulled over, and I gave the cop a constitutional questionnaire, and he tried to whatever, and then I ended up, anyways, it's just kind of a long story, but nothing happened from it. So it's that's kind of the proof on the contract thing, if I'd say that, but. The other thing I want to ask you is being the redhead thing. I mean, talk about that a little bit, if you would, because I feel like there's probably a few of us, we're only red hair, blue eyes, are only 1% of the population, right?
I don't know what that is. I mean, factually speaking, in most arenas, if we lined up 1,000 people, I had the 32nd degree Mason tell me that, who I used to work for. He goes, Paul, you just don't get it. The Prince of the Ether runs this world, and it has its code, and we're going to hold all the slaves to it because it's profitable for us. They need it anyway. And he goes, I could put 1,000 people in the room, and they don't know what you know, and they're not going to do what you do. Right? So I don't need to go to red hair and blue eyes to show, in fact, that I'm anomalous. But again, the anomalous creature who's intelligent is like the condemned man who's proud of their large jail cell. I'm not necessarily proud of my high IQ or my anomalous beingness in many arenas. If anything, it's been quite a burden for me in life. I've transmuted that. I've transformed that into something that works for me and others, but I'm not exactly starting a parade about it, right? If anything, I just look at it as God chose me some way, somehow, because I wasn't formed to do anything else and would have been a waste of life here. So it goes, hey, we're going to use the least among us to do the great work. And that is Paulie Boy some way, somehow, because he's anomalous and has a little bit of a different story. But within that anomalous little bit of a different story is echoes of everybody's story from what I've seen. They're just not aware of it, right? And then they think I'm culting them when I try to get them to see what it is I've always seen. Because I asked them, what was your home life like? Your parents, teachers, authoritarianism? What's all that about? And it just took with them. They never saw through it, right? But it still applies to them. And then there's a group of folks, a minority within that majority, who it definitely applies to them because they have seen through from the beginning. They have always had this feeling or intention in their heart that something's wrong. And the world tries to feed back to them like it did to me that, oh, that's you, Paulie Boy. That's not the world. That's not the systems. That's not the fake religions. That's not the medical tyrannies. That's not this. No, that's you. You got ADHD, you got anxiety, you got depression. There's something wrong with you and your gene code. You need medication. You need to shut up and numb out. And of course it would say that. Of course the deceiver would tell a child of the light who comes through people to incarnate in this world to become aware and awake and influence to just shut up and numb out and something's wrong with them. Don't try to change yourself and change the world.
That's not. I know you're kind of doing a bet, or whatever, but I mean, that's not it though. I mean, it's like, people that are. We have to. I've come to kind of the realization that if you really stand for the truth, you really have to be an outcast. You have to be Jesus Christ, man. You have to be.
You have to have nothing that can bind you and prioritize above the truth. It's why most of us can't. And there are other reasons too in the physical realm, like trauma and just sort of. But I've deduced, and again, maybe this is just an attempt to try to cope and make myself feel better. But certain folks who are chosen to do certain things here can't love like everybody else. They can't live like everybody else. They can't work like everybody else because they can't prioritize people, places, and things, everyone and everything else above the truth. They just can't do it. They can't get it done. I can't get it done. I'd love to. I want to fit in. I want to be rich and profitable and have all the women. I can't get it done. And I'm thankful and grateful for that because I see what the lifestyle is like for those who can get it done. I see who they are and how they feel and how they live and what they portray and project and embody and emulate. So I'm actually thankful and grateful. That's like the Tao speaks of staying behind to get ahead, right? The softest things overcomes the hardest things. The least ambitious overcomes the most ambitious. The tortoise always beats the hare.
Yep, the law of opposites, if you will. I've been studying a lot of that too. But it's like it's just so hard, man, because it's like literally like I've been living this the past two. Like after I use those, I know last time I talked about banking and whatever, but when I first came across this information, I had what you call a Kabbalistic moment. I had a complete freak out. Like people might call it Kundalini. I don't know what people would call it, but I mean it was like a complete. I saw the evil of the world. It was like a big thing, right? And like I kind of had a moment, And after
it's called
that,
revelations. Yeah, revelations.
A revelation, but I mean, like way intense, like way more than like people say. Oh man, I was saying no, this was a revelation, right? And so it was one of those things where it's like I haven't been the same since, and I've been like blasting friends off, whatever. And I've heard the term. If you have a certain vibration, you can't like people from let's say people from your past that are low vibration or whatever, they come at you. Then it's like if you're raising your vibration and you're like really in the truth and whatever, like they can't even get next to you. And I've seen that, dude, for the past couple of years. I've seen that whole thing. Like people from the past come and they come up to me and they go, "Hey, how's it going?" Absolutely not. And they go away and they don't come back and they don't try and call and whatever. And it's like the vibration's too high. Not to puff up on myself, but that's just the truth.
Yeah, no, we're not equally yoked, like the Christed being said in Scripture. If you will not take on the armor of God and walk the path with someone who will, you will be recoiled and repelled from that being. You're not meant to be in their inner circle. You're not meant to be part of their experience. It will test and challenge everybody and call forth the best version of self or leave you behind. This is ancient wisdom from the beginning of time. This stuff is cliche, but it's real.
Yep, it's a beautiful thing too, and it's all glory to the Lord. I mean, it's like
real quick. I want to address these folks. I want some audience engagement here. When I'm in the algorithm, especially, and we got some new folks showing up, I want audience engagement. So don't take it personal, John, as well. We love you. We love these people. My chief of staff came to me, John. They said, "Sir, we have slaves in the chat. They're supporting you. They love you." And I said, "Well, we love these people right back, John. We love our slaves." You, Sarah, projecting once again, like many of them do, mainstream. That's rich coming from the party that covered for Biden. So again, you're projecting onto me and others that because we did the bait and switch to get you here, like sometimes we'll do Biden as well. We get everybody here. You want to piss everyone off, just talk the truth. And the truth is that there's two wings of the same bird, and they're using the parties to play you off against the middle, right? So I kind of have to do this to get in the algorithm and get you folks' attention and have the back and forth to give you the revelation, presuming it matters to you and you see what I'm saying. If not, just continue to do what you've always done. But that's proof right there of the mind and heart control. Anybody who doesn't toe the line of the party, the Nazi party, is immediately deemed as opposition, right? There's your tribalist mind and heart control. So I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a leftist. Ironically, like I've said here many times before, and I'll have to say it again at certain points, I am the real Republican. And the folks who come here like John and others, we are the real Republicans and conservatives. We believe in extremely limited, if not absolute, doing away with global and local government beyond peacekeeping, which involves loss, injury, and harm, right? We are a representation or reflection of the original founders and their values and ideals. You slaves aren't. Founders weren't interested. Many of them didn't sign the Constitution for this reason. They didn't want to federalize, they didn't want to corporatize, and they didn't want to idolize. Okay? And that's what you all. Yeah, they do it with everything. They do it with Donnie. They do it with Jesus. They forget the truth. They forget the mission and the cause. They don't uphold the law and exercise the rights. They don't become the change we all need to see. And they sit back acting more and more slavish while doing hero and idol worship from afar, right? That's not greatness. And again, I'm not a leftist. I'm not a Democrat. I think all of you folks are misled and deceived. I think all of political science is statism and fascism / corporatism, because United States is defined as a corporation. So they came in with a corporation, convinced you its government, gave you two parties to choose from, and then ran game on you from both sides, right? Because every time one side does what the greater agenda is, the other side covers for them or calls it out, and then they fight, and then somehow while they're fighting, stuff gets through. It's just one big 3-card Monty shell game. Just keep your time, energy, attention on the buckets. The ball's got to be there. All you need to do this time, guys, is pick where the ball is. Just find the ball. Just, oh, where's the ball? There it is. I just showed it to you. Just find the ball. Once again. Every time they pick the barrel up, and there's no ball under there, and they get taken again for another X amount of dollars, and they're losers once again. And then somebody comes up on the side and goes, oh, the ball's right there. And they pick it up and go, you win. And they hand him the 1,000. And then the moron keeps playing. Okay, that guy just won, so we got to be able to pick it. Find the ball. The ball's going to be in here. There it is. Just look for it. All you got to do is pick it. Okay, it's right there. Nope, got you again. See? That's how the game works. It's just a more sophisticated, barely a bit more sophisticated version of 3-card Monty shell game, where they convince you from time to time that there's winning in this. So, see, that guy found the ball. Why are you so stupid? But they don't tell you the guy who finds the ball every time from the side and wins the 1,000 is working with them. He's just there to provide you losers with the belief that you can find the ball and win. See?
Do you think that's why it's the biggest contract to avoid, is because it's like, if you're stupid enough to, with all due, whatever, if you're stupid enough to believe that voting makes a difference, and it's like, you're contracted in, baby. You know what I mean? Like, does that kind of make sense? Maybe that's
it's the overarching core thematic of this reality and what it all represents and stands for, which is self-mastery versus enslavement. Because that's all self-government is self-mastery versus conquering from without. So again, the folks in inversion land, like the Tao will speak 2,000 years before Jesus in the Bible, the masses will always mistake the false for the true and the true for the false. They will always project that you are what they are and what they're doing. This is a perfect example. You give no respect to God, the president, or America, but actually believe you are worthy of receiving respect. That's you. That's you and the people. No, please don't cut me off, sir. Please just let me finish. I'm doing my bit. You know the energy by now. You know there's a certain timing here and a certain formality. It's always the same thing. Try to pick up on that. So that's you. You give no respect to yourself and God and the truth and the land and the people and what's right. And you continue to vote for billionaire masters who are literally on record over and over again saying they fuck teenagers and misuse their authority to do it. Okay. So that's you. And that's why your land is in judgment and you people are in judgment. And that's why you're deeper in debt than ever. The disease is off the charts. You need 10 fucking medications just to stand up. Okay. Should I go on here? Because again, the cause and effect and the results speak for themselves. Stop projecting onto me and others that we are you and doing what you're doing. We're not. And that's why you're triggered. We are the solution. You are part of the problem. Okay. Sorry to have to be the biological wake up call here, but that's the reality of it. So just sit back one of these days, write down everything you think that I am, and then flip the mirror onto you and realize that's you. And you're triggered and recoiling because I'm the answer to that dynamic problem that you keep creating and can't see past. And you keep projecting it onto others. You project the solution onto others as well. And there it is. That's the final bomb they just dropped. It's now on its way down. It's gonna hit right on User de Fender, whatever his name is, right on his house. That bomb is coming. You were saying, Scott, it's amazing how these folks project and reject, whether it's the problem or the solution. You were saying we got to get to some of these clips here at some point, man.
I'll let you go, man. I'm kind of getting there on the alcohol level, and so I'll just let you go. But I appreciate talking, man.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Blessings to you. All right, Scott, everybody, aka the ghost of Richard Nixon.
Can I inject something here?
Absolutely. You're not going to do heroin on this broadcast, are you? I thought about it many times when I interact with the slaves. I go, hey, can I inject something real quick here, John, just to take the pain away? But we don't have to live like that anymore, John. We've gotten beyond that. We're better than that. Go ahead.
That thought never entered my mind when I made that statement. It's weird how you picked up on it that way. But anyway,
well, I'm a deviant, John. Go ahead. Nothing MAGA can't support and handle. Go ahead, please.
Have you seen the latest GAO report?
TAO report. No, tell me all about that.
GAO, Gary Adam Oliver.
GAO report.
Government Accounting Office.
The GAO. Tell me about the GAO.
Well, they just released a report, and I'll read one paragraph here. You know, they audit the government to see if they're fiscally responsible and all this shit. And one of the statements they came out with at the beginning of the auditor's report says certain material weaknesses in internal control over financial reporting and other limitations on the scope of our work resulted in conditions that continue to prevent us from expressing an opinion on the accompanying accrued base consolidated financial statements as of and for the fiscal years 2024-2033. They're sending these reports to the GAO that make no financial statements that make no sense. When you brought up the house of cards, there are no cards, dude. They can't come up with anything as far as fiscal reporting. Nothing. It's all bullshit. It's all made up.
Yeah, I know, John. It's just that easy. They say mind and heart control doesn't exist. I go, if you weren't under the mind and heart control, you'd look around and realize how patently simple it is to control the whole world. You just make a whole bunch of shell corporations, you call them nations, you convince them statute, policy, and code is law through the government-funded public fool system, and you pay for that by convincing people they need to give a third of what they create in value over to build some roads. It's just that fucking easy, John. And then you lock them all down and you get all the rich people even richer and use policy and code again to interfere with their property and rights, and then you convince them that it's Americana while you do it. You wave that flag while you do the fascism and the Nazism. And you tell them, salute that flag, Purple Mountain's Majesty. It's just that easy, man. Most people here are really stupid, weak, cowardly, and lazy. That's the reality of the human race. I'm sorry it's that way. I'd like it to be different, but that's just what the result shows. The last 5 years proves it. Stupid, cowardly, lazy. They didn't study law. They didn't know the law. They think a mandate means you got to do something. It's defined as a request under Roman civil law. Okay, they're too cowardly to question their false authorities, right? So what did I say again? What's the three criteria? All right, stupid, lazy, and cowardly. Lazy and cowardly, definitely. Not too stupid to know this stuff. They just can't get out of their own way because they're mind and heart controlled. So many of them bright people. They have the capacity. They could learn and do and be and have better. But there's a belief that stands in the way of them and the truth. And folks like me and others and reality are going to have to break down those walls of Jericho, so to speak, so they can get at the truth and be what they're meant to be under God. It's a long game process, John, but we're on our way.
Yeah, but you know, they claim we're 150 trillion in debt, and there's no paperwork that can verify that. It could be 300 trillion, 600 trillion. There's no way to know. And one of the conclusions they came to is that people are going to have to die younger if we're ever going to get back to fiscal responsibility, because they can't keep paying out these programs that they're supposed to finance, that they just can't, because it's, oh my God, when I saw
I got to call out to the audience, because there's a lot of folks in my chat today and they're just yelling out Trump's #1. I'm the biggest idiot ever. I must be retarded. Guys, hit the panel link. I'll throw the link for you. Call in. I want to hear all about what Donnie's doing for me in America. Change my mind. Get me right. Because all I got reference for is, again, the lockdowns, the shots, the money to state of Israel, holding back federal aid now. If you criticize the state of Israel and their expansionism, making more policy and code on guns. This doesn't seem very American to me. Doesn't seem very Republican to me. Seems kind of weird that you're all supporting this. Seems kind of like it's proof that if you just put someone forth and you give him a red tie and you say he's a Republican, you folks will cult up all day, every day. It's just that simple. It's just that easy. And when I ask many of you, hundreds of you, could you just give me some concrete examples of what he's doing to make America great again, while you all suck ding dong and beg for masters and pay tax to live and call it republicanism and self-governance? Could you please just explain it to me? As he says, the Epstein list doesn't exist all of a sudden. First it was on the desk, we're going to release it. Now it doesn't exist. The Democrats made it up. So lying's okay to everyone now too in the MAGA cult? We can just lie to everyone's face because we're going to pretend daddy's playing 5D chess? Can we get our heads out of our asses here? Can we get a fucking clue sometime this century? I mean, I'm the biggest fool here for being conscious and aware and expecting the masses to become conscious and aware. If Jesus couldn't get him to stop being a pathetic, embarrassing Babylonian slave, what makes me think Paul enslaved is going to be able to do it? That must be my arrogance and ego. Go ahead.
See how he responds when he's questioned by a reporter? Don't you have to follow the Constitution? He responds by saying, well, I don't know. I have a lot of very high-paid lawyers.
Yeah, right. This is Mr. America, right? Mr.
Yeah, exactly.
America genuflects to his high-paid lawyers.
Exactly.
And legalist folks, right? The corporatist legalist side of things. You know, because a real man under God with rights, who knows right from wrong, needs to have a team of lawyers who tell him, forget about the Constitution and the law of the land, right? We're doing legalism. That's what counts. That's what's big in town nowadays, right? Okay. So, this is perfect, right? This is essentially what this is like. Let me answer the phone over here. 606, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to head back to you, but I want to go to my preacher woman. My preacher woman, a blast from the past about a year ago, says saying no to Trump is like saying no to God, and this is essentially what political science has become. One big idol worship Babylonian cult on either side.
To say no to President Trump would be saying no to God.
Right.
And I won't do that.
And any tongue that rises against him will be condemned according to the word of God.
It is God that raises up a king. It is God that sets one down. And so when you fight against the plan of God, you're fighting against the hand of God.
Right. Of course. Sure. Okay. Let me get back to Mr. 606. 606, you got a name for me just so I can address you properly?
Peter.
Peter. Okay. Go ahead, sir. Questions, comments, concerns, belief systems. Floor is yours.
Well, it's not questions. It's actually facts.
When you get out of the bathroom or whatever it is, you got a hell of an echo, man.
1 moment.
Sure.
Is he getting out of the bathtub?
Yeah, I think he's this is Baths with MAGA. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
So I really don't have questions actually anymore when I watch everything what's going on. I'm just looking at the entire development, and maybe it's a question. I'm just wondering, why is America so happy with the political system that we have right now? Because due to the money that is involved in the politics, every buffoon can become a president. That's how it is.
Well, no, that's the way they want it to appear, right? To keep this idea going that anybody can be president. I don't believe that. I can't prove it. I don't believe that. These people are all, again, I have a 12-year-old who did a science project, history project. She was the first person ever. She went down in the Guinness Book of World Records. I should pull that up, John. It's a good clip. She was the only person ever who thought to trace back the mother's side of lineage and found out that all the presidents except for one are related to one king of England, right? This is not a coincidence to me. Government is a family affair. Okay. These people are all screened ahead of time. They're a part of the club and they're intergenerationally related, it seems, in order to be chosen. Even Barry Obama was related to the one king, Edward the Eighth, whatever it is. Let me bring it up, but go ahead and feel free to comment on that, right? There's a lot of delusions within illusions within deceptions.
I know. But I am a legal immigrant for 18 years now here in America, right?
Well, I'm not interested if you're a legal immigrant or not. I'm interested, are you lawful? Do you cause loss, injury, or harm, and do you pay your own debts, right? Legal, everyone's illegal. They did a survey. I've said it many times. The man wrote a book. It's called 4 Felonies a Day. He did a survey. He found the average person, the best person you can find out there, the average person commits 4 felonies a day. We're all illegal, sir, whether we know it or not, because there's so many statutes, policies, and codes. You can't trip and fall without it being illegal. But go ahead, continue.
So I come from a country where there are multiple political parties, right?
Right.
And when it comes to elections, everyone is coming out with some promises of what they are going to do and how they are going to do it. But because there are so many political parties, they actually need to learn how to work together. And for example, there is a socialist party that is going to win the elections, but they do not have enough votes to become the leading party. So they have to go and look in another party to see if they want to join. Now, that party is going to say, hey, I can share my votes with you, but I have an agenda. And I want this agenda to be fulfilled as good as possible. So they start negotiating over that. What we have here in America is we have only 2 political, well, we got 3, but the independents, but they are not doing much.
Elon and of course Elon, as I kind of decoded yesterday, actually is El being Saturn, which is allegorical of Darth Vader. Who is father to Luke Skywalker. On is the city of the sun, a reference to the sun itself, right? Luke the Skywalker. And these are sort of antithetical metaphysical conceptualizations. So Elon is going to reconcile the conflict between Saturn or Shaitan and the Christed energy, God's son, right? And it's going to do such with a third party called the America First Party, if you can believe that. And guess how many of these MAGA dunces are going to fall right in line to get sucked right back into the statist, fascist, collectivist, mechanistic system of political science, right? So they know what they're doing.
But when there is a third party, right, and that third party has political views that are really extreme, what are those 2 other parties going to do? Because they have to make sure that they are safe also. So eventually the problem is the political parties here in America don't know how to work together. And I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. But
you're saying that political parties don't know how to work together. That's another ruse. They know exactly how to work together. And you know why? Because when it came time to lock everybody down and interfere with everybody's property and rights, they were on board from coast to coast. They seem to know how to do that pretty well. Were you here the last 5 years? All of a sudden, the Republicans and Democrats who couldn't agree on anything were totally in agreement, lockstep, and even came forward with a joint plan to lock everybody down, vax, tax, and lax everybody and pay them to be a slave. Did you miss that?
But who directed it?
Exactly. Who or what directed it, sir? On principalities and high places on the spiritual level? I'll ask you, who or what directed it? Who or what inhabited every man or woman, the majority of them, all across these lands from sea to sea, nation to nation, and convinced the whole world, 3/4 of the world, to destroy themselves and each other and their economy to stay safe? Who or what did it, sir?
That is what we need to find out.
It's not find out. This has been the beginning of the time till the end of time. It is called Shaitan, the deceiver. If a God of creation exists here, well, then there's an opposing force and a deceiver here that comes to kill, steal, and destroy and convince you it's for your own good. Why is this? I get it. I get we're living a movie and most logical, rational, everyday people can't conceive of what the fuck I'm talking about. I can't either, but it's there. It's real. It keeps showing itself over and over again through people, places, and things from the beginning of time till the end of time. So we are the conduits. We are bringing it forth or not on both sides, right? We're bringing forth God and truth and success and greatness and strength and faith and prosperity, or we're absent of those things. And then this thing takes over everyone and everything. That's how this realm works, sir. Inherent hierarchical power and value systems. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I got another call here. Unknown caller, are you there? Unknown caller? Hello, hello.
Sounded like somebody hung up.
No, they're still there. I see them on the counter. Unknown caller. Blocked call. Hello, anyone there? Okay, go ahead and call back whoever that was, because it seems like you hung up, whoever I put on hold. It's amazing that these folks come here and then ask me to repeat whatever I just said. Maybe they didn't hear it, but they ask as if the information's not available. It's not only the greatest story ever told, it's the only story ever told over and over again in different forms. What do you think The Matrix is? You know, what do you think Braveheart is? What do you think every one of these pop culture movies that invokes the spirit of rebellion against false authority by aligning with the true authority is emulating, is replicating? The greatest and only story ever told from the beginning of time, a story about consciousness and awareness or lack thereof, told in many different forms with the same archetypal ideas about the same cause and effect outcomes and co-creative meanings, purpose, and values. This is it. This is what we're doing here. Everything else is extras, and they have everybody, most people, not focusing at all on conscious awareness or lack thereof, spiritual practice, growth and development, self-mastery, and co-creativity, alignment with universal law. That's the least of what people are focusing on. They're focused on everything else, as we know, right? That's part of Babylonianism. The next golf game, the next basketball game, the next baseball game, the next tard you're going to vote for to run your life, who's going to sniff women and children in public and shit his pants. You know, the next arrogant, egotistical narcissist who's going to turn the land and its people into a fucking business to profiteer. Yeah, come on down, you know. Ticket to the circus. When you're born in this world, you're born on the land of America, you get a front row seat. Not a lie. John, you got anything before you move on here? We got a couple clips of Donnie saying that he likes his position in the world. He's got a position of authority and money, so he can seduce teenage women. That makes him feel good, makes him feel powerful. I'm sure it does on some level.
No, go ahead, go forward.
Dude, don't portray that you aren't in the Matrix. Well, that's precisely the point. Because I'm not exempt from this commentary, I'm free to make this commentary. This isn't a competition. See, this is why democracy is what it is and slavery and genocide is what it is. Because instead of you slaves who file in here understanding that if I'm right and I win, then you're right and you win. If you attack me and try to drag me down, demean me, and devalue me, you're playing into the hands of your masters. And that makes perfect sense. That's what you're trained to do. You're trained when you hear or see someone stand up and step out and get results and have answers. Tell them, shut up and sit down. You're just a lowly slave. You don't have the money and status. Now, Johnny here, he's got the answers, right? That's how you know you're a kept pet slave who can't think for itself and can't recognize true value, power, or greatness in yourself or in anyone else. That's why you're so easily deceived and controlled. So it makes sense to me, but it's pathetic and embarrassing because you folks who come here are the reflection of why things are the way they are. And you're projecting you being part of the problem onto me, who is and has the solution. I'm all for it. You like it. I love it. Thank you for being a part of this experience simulation and being a placeholder, just like your government and your masters. Thank you. Thank you for being a placeholder here so that we can get the true power and value and message out to the rest, right? You're just a power base. I use you the same way your government uses you, just for a different outcome, right? To undo the work they're doing, right? I use you for the same reasons. Most people are lemmings, absolutely. Henry T. Cardenas gets it. Speak the truth, my brother. Mr. G gets it. There's a fair bit of folks who actually get it as well, right? It's about a 70, 30, 80, 20, just like the Vax report says. About 70 to 80% of the planet got the Vax while they were taxed and laxed. About 20 to 30% can somewhat get it. They have an ability to get it, right? If they don't get it now, they at least have the ability and they're open to it and they're moving toward it. The rest, I don't know if there's any hope for you. That's probably why Shaitan came out in the open and gave you 5 booster shots, because it's made a decision with its algorithm that you're no longer needed. You're no longer redeemable. Go ahead, John.
You see Pfizer's promoting the possible return of COVID-19 this summer, and that they have a pill form medication for it.
Yeah, we know that. It's going to keep devolving and presenting itself as more adaptive and safe and effective, right? And again, as it should. This is part of the sorcery of this realm, the magic, if you will, of manifestation. If you're that unconscious and unaware with everything you've experienced, it means you purposely decided to ignore certain things, which means you deserve whatever you get. What you resist will persist. What you ignore will persist. There's a middle ground there where you accept and understand and transmute and transcend. Without that, it's loop central, as we know here. Okay, let's go to Donnie. We got some Donnie clips. Why not? Blast from the past. Donnie in 1992 makes lewd joke to group of young girls. Entertainment Tonight footage. But this is just what being a red-blooded real man is all about, right? Let's not be a bunch of lefty soy boys. Staring at a 12-year-old or an 8-year-old and saying, I'm going to fuck her in 10 years is just part of being a red-blooded American, don't you know? All the time, but then this is the weird thing. When I go out and about on town and I see an 8-year-old and I go, oh, you see that 8-year-old? I'm going to be fucking her in 10 years. They don't exactly have the same warm response and reception from me or others. I don't know what that is. But Donnie can't do no wrong. And of course, I'm kidding there because they'll latch on to that. They'll completely ignore Donnie, and the same people will then latch on to me. Say, you hear what he just said? He said he's going to fuck an 8-year-old 10 years from now. No, that's your daddy said that. I'm doing the bit. Let's get to it.
We provided to CBS News.
Soon. Thursday night. You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got one more. And there's so many of them, right? This is just a couple. Donnie brings a girl up on stage. She's 17. He comments how beautiful she is and how great it is. And there's another one with the pageants, too. Donnie does a teen pageant situation. He's got the authority, so he brags. He gets to walk around in the back and look at all the naked women and hug on them. And there's not much they can do about it. Because, if they don't like it, they can go elsewhere, right? So misusing our official positions, authority, all the rest. Hey, it's just what us real men do, don't you know?
Why would it be any different in this position now?
Case was very interesting. A beautiful girl who was 17 or 18 applied to be a waitress. She's so beautiful. She's like a world-class beauty, like the young lady who just asked a question about the actress. She's so beautiful. And my people came, she said, well, Mr. Trump, she has no experience. So I interviewed her anyway, because she was so beautiful. And I said, let me ask you, do you have any experience? She goes, no, sir. I said, when can you start?
Hee, ha, 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 ha. Notice how the goblin, the devil inside of all of us, laughs and giggles and likes to make fun of the fact that this is what we do. This is what lives within us. This need for power and control and unquenchable lust and desire, and so much so we'll tell the whole world. Yeah. But the Epstein list doesn't exist. We weren't with Epstein. Yeah, we were at the parties, but we didn't do the same stuff, and the list doesn't exist. And I never went to the island. Okay, maybe I did, but it's because I was just cleaning up around there, fixing up the place. And hee ha ha, I'm gonna fuck 17-year-olds because they're beautiful, and it's legal, illegal. That's all it's really about, right? If I can get my team of attorneys to pay people off and make it legal, then it's all okay. It's all right. That's the synagogue of Shaitan. Long as in a corrupted world, they can get their corrupt, lying, deceiving attorneys, spinsters, to justify what can't be justified, well, then it's all okay. Don't you know? Because there's no God, there's no morality, there's no conscience, there's no redemption here. It's just whatever the fuck we want it to be, right? As Donnie, I covered the article the other day, brought out the golden calf covered in $100 bills just to do sorcery, blasphemy, and mockery in everybody's face. Literally straight out of scripture. The golden calf, symbolism of Molech and Mammon, covered in $100 bills, because cash is king. Christ isn't king with the evangelical Christians who run this nation. Cash is king, backed by nothing. Private Federal Reserve debt note, don't you know? Okay, so we know who and what they serve. We know who and what they worship. We know how they put it in everybody's face to do sorcery and blasphemy and mockery. And you dumb slaves eat it right up, and you spit it right back out, and you continue to be used as conduit pawns to manifest the devil's kingdom in reality here. Enjoy it. You like it. I love it. I'm actually rather looking forward to. I don't want this to be the case. I'd rather it be different, but I have to learn to accept and even love what the enemy puts forth and creates. So I'm rather looking forward to the exciting times that we're in and going in more and more, where kill, steal, destroy gets to become more and more apparent for everyone, right? And then maybe we can reconvene at some point. And reconvene, reconnect, and potentially redeem ourselves with each other. That's the love of the game. That's the fun of the game here in the looping cycle of light age, dark age. Ism. Okay, we got to that. Saying no to Donnie's like saying no to God. That. New hit song, Diddler on the Roof. Why the hell not? And by the way, Donnie's going to pardon Diddy is the word on the street. And why shouldn't he? They're all involved in the same activities. They all have the same energy. They all serve the same thing. And they're all not as active as they could be, using all their time, energy, attention, money, and power and resources to encourage the people to live more freely and righteously, of course, because with one comes the responsibility and accountability of the other. You can't be truly free here and prosperous unless you're somewhat disciplined or properly directed. Diddler on the Roof. Yeah. Now this is a good campaign vibe right here. Got a little Israeli flow to it.
All day long I distract and divert, beguile and subvert, be playful or flirt. I always promise the press I got dirt, keeps my enemies alert, chaos my dessert. When I see lots of news on Epstein, a me stopping teen, stories on my ween, I get up on the roof where I can be seen on 1,000,000 screens just to make a big scene. I'm the diddler on the roof, erasing all the proof. You say it's uncouth, I swear it's the truth. When people say I'm on the Epstein list, I'll always insist it may or may not exist. I'll just name the Clintons. They're
I shouldn't laugh at this. It's actually not funny.
Pinch or Joe Biden, he's not missed. They claim I covered up all of my tracks, my flights there and back, the parties in his flack, our fights over minors, the girls and their attacks, or bites on their back, but the proof they do lack. I'm the diddler on the roof, erasing all the the proof. You say it's uncouth. I swear it's the truth.
All right, I'm going to leave it there, John. I think you get the point. It goes on. But that's enough for now. Folks can check it out on their own time. Diddler on the Roof. Oh, and by the way, we have a new song. My band, The Sovereign Citizens, has a new song that is officially hit. You'll see the little video there. In the video is one of these blow-up balloon dolls you see out front these certain places. And it's meant to represent the prosecutor, because if folks hang out here long enough, they're going to learn about the difference between legal and lawful. And it's not my opinion. It's based on my over half a dozen experiences at court and dozens of other folks who've come here to get this understanding. They've got dismissals as well, because we've recognized the fraud they're perpetrating at these courts all across the land. One of them is this idea that a man or woman stands up, they never swear in, they have no firsthand knowledge, they're not on the charging instrument, but they call themselves the people. And they're acting as a state actor, right? Acting as the prosecutor for the corporation. So most people they have no idea what's going on there. They go and call their attorney. They go and call Shmuel, their attorney, to ask him what just went on there. But I encourage them, no, see through the deception and the fraud. See how they're getting you in jurisdiction. See how they're sticking you with the obligation, right? So this song is meant to reflect that idea that there is a fraud going on at court. And when we see through it and call it out, we get results, because they know from the beginning of time, the rules of court are that you have a right to face your accuser. And if you have an accuser, they have to come forth. They have to be named on the charging instrument, and they have to swear in order to testify. So there have been many folks who've gotten cases just completely dismissed and thrown out because they object when the prosecutor speaks. They ask who it is. They ask him to swear in and give only firsthand testimony. And if not, they object, right? Because we can't, hearsay is not admissible at court. You can't bring in a partial state actor with no firsthand knowledge who won't swear in and get him to stand and start talking and move in the court. That is all fraud and illegitimacy. Okay, so let's go to that. I forget the title of this one. All right, let's just go to it.
Stand me up, court's in session. Where's the defendant? Start the confession. Hey there, so sit, tell me your plea. I'm a really big deal, you must listen to me. As you can see, I'm totally real. You can tell it's true, cause I'm a really big deal. Oopie-loo, Scooby-Dabba-Doo-Ba-Ba-Ba-Boo. You there, subset, what's your plea? If you're really, really good, I might lessen the fee. You don't have a choice, you're in my court, and you better hurry up, my temper is short. Oopie-loo, Scooby-Dabba-Doo-Ba-Ba-Boo. Silly self-sit, when you're gonna see the only option you got is to tell me your plea. As the people I represent society, you're criminal scum, now listen to me. Oopie-loo, Scooby-Dabba-Doo-Ba-Ba-Boo. Oh, stand me up, this man is unsafe. Slave him up quick before he gets away. Wait, hold on now, what do you mean fiction? Your Honor, I bet he's got a drug addiction. He wants to challenge jurisdiction. Oopie-doo, Scooby-Dabba-Doo-Ba-Ba-Boo. Your Honor, I'm thinking about doing a no-load. Dismiss the case, so maybe call it a no-show. Please hurry up if you've got any tricks. This must be how soft-sits get their kicks. We don't got a choice, we gotta let him go before he gets fees and realizes it's his show. If he can make a claim, then he can't make me pay. It's clear now these sadists think this is foreplay. Oopie-loo, Scooby-Dabba-Doo-Ba-Ba-Boo.
All right, Silly Sopsit. That's going to be the title for that one. That's my band, the Sovereign Citizens, right there, John. Quick commentary, Jerry Garcia. This is why most of you can't be spoken to. We can't tell you the truth because this is what you do. You got this reflex that you go into. It's this reflexive move. You bring up what Trump's doing, and immediately the defense goes up, and the reflex of, where were you all during Muslim Obama's term? Well, why don't you go on my Facebook, Paul Unslave, which, by the way, just this week has been unshadow banned. I know that because I haven't gotten any Facebook requests and barely any comments for years now, and they shut down my ads and won't promote and all the rest of it. And all of a sudden this week, after I sent Meta and Google and YouTube a cease and desist letter, we're back in the algorithm again, and Facebook's now, I'm just getting a influx of requests. I got like 20 requests in the last couple days because all of a sudden I'm being shown again. So go on my Facebook and look up where I was while you project when the Muslim was in office. I was the guy talking about the birth certificates, talking about New World Order, talking about the same thing I do now in the same way, just from a different perspective, because it's the same idea, okay? Stop projecting that I was sitting somewhere. I didn't vote for the Muslim. I haven't voted for anyone ever. Well, my father voted for Georgie Boy Bush with the dancing Israelis that some might say took the towers down and created the Patriot Act and furthered the expansionism of 5 more wars in the Middle East that they've been planning on doing forever. I didn't vote for him when my daddy did. I didn't vote for Barry the Muslim Sotoro, who was sucking dick and smoking crack with Larry Sinclair because we got him on record at court testifying. I was playing those videos. That's where I was. Thanks for asking, Jerry. Jerry, thanks for asking, Jerry. Jerry, where I was during the Muslims' reign was I was on here playing videos of Larry Sinclair, who had GPS coordinates, addresses, and phone numbers of people who later suicide, who testified at court that he was, quote unquote, sucking dick and smoking crack with Barry during his administration. That's where I was. Where were you, dummy? Oh, that's right. You were hobbling around on one leg. All the one-leggers, the peg-leggers, hobbling around on one leg because they have no foundation, right? You were still hobbling on one leg, and I was walking like an actual man and serving the truth and not playing into this or thatism and tribalism, see? They're all criminals. They're all corrupt. They've all been exposed. They're all using statute, policy, and code to interfere with the rights and property of the people. Get a fucking clue, dunce. Now, Sky King says, oh, yeah, Biden did such a great thing, did such great things. Never said he did. Where were you, Polly boy, not only during the reign of the Muslim, but the pants shitter? Well, I was here still, doing the same thing from a different perspective, playing videos of Joe Biden mumbling and stumbling, falling upstairs, shitting his pants, and not knowing what planet he's on, while you all pretend the president runs the world. That's where I was, still me, still doing what I do, pointing out the fucking obvious to both sides that can't find their ass with 2 hands. Yes. Thank you for playing. Thank you for being here. I'm here to help.
Thinking about the wrong things, man. They got those minds trapped.
They just, again, this is reflexive. This is how we do proof of mind and heart control. We just lay something out there, a true statement or question, and watch how all the people just get defensive and reflexive because they're mind and heart controlled. They just start throwing shit out that makes no sense. We're literally under a fascist Holocaust here, where if you question Der Fuhrer, one side of the party or the other is going to come out and go, shut up, he's our daddy. So it makes it perfectly perfect for this system to roll on, because no matter what side you're on, if you question who's in power, they all tell you, shut up with one voice. Shut up about Barry the Muslim. Shut up about Donnie the Diddler. I get it. I know, because you're both culted on both sides and your daddy can't be questioned. And that's how the system rolls along. And it's authoritarianism, because none of you care about right from wrong. None of you serve the truth. None of you will call out the corrupt authority on both sides. That is illegitimate. That's why we're in judgment. That's why it's getting worse, because we don't have a population of coherent, conscionable, co-creative, honorable, good faith, discerning Americans who are willing to question illegitimate authority and hold these people's feet to the fire, uphold the law of the land, and stop complying and exercise their fucking rights to be free. That's how we get out of this. Believe it or not. Julian, your thoughts? And then we're going to roll along here. I'm going to end it potentially before the 3rd hour because today I'm pleased. We're in the algorithm. We got notifications and browse features. I've done the whole broadcast pretty much above the 200 live viewer mark, and we're up past probably 5 or 10,000 viewers after the fact. See, for all the liars and deceivers out there in many different ways, when they come here and try to say, Paul, you can't get over this and can't do that, that's the shadow banning. And you all repeat it and won't acknowledge it and won't stand for what's true and what's right in that arena either, meaning it will continue. And when it comes for you one day, you'll have nothing to fucking cry about, okay? But today we're good because I gave them notice and they know I'm going to sue their bitch ass if they don't stop. And they don't want to get in court with me because I'm going to make them lose and I'm going to make them pay me. And then I'm going to do the numbers I was supposed to do anyway. Okay? Win-win-wins. That's all we do is win, like Donnie says. I'm doing what Donnie and the others can't or won't do on the ground. Little old me in my corner of reality. Go ahead, Julian. We're on full-on trigger mode here today, and I love it.
Yeah, for the fucking secondhand embarrassment I feel from, like, just witnessing people defend any president, whatever fucking daddy they choose to have, it's insane. If they could even just feel like a fraction of the embarrassment I feel for them, I'm sure it'd be enough to just change their entire
Look at them in
trajectory.
chat right now. Look at how I reveal the dynamic with this broadcast every time in chat. They're now fighting and arguing with each other in chat. Fuck Trump and MAGA. Fuck the Democrats and Biden. You guys are all pimped and gamed. This is why we can't get out of the prison. This is exactly like if I went to prison. The first time I went to jail, I looked around and it occurred to me, everybody's segregated. Everybody knows the rules that have been passed down forever. Everybody's going along to get along. And the only people they're fighting and arguing with are each other. While they're all being ruled over and policed and watched and told what to do. This is why democracy is a failure and you folks are still in or on a prison planet because you're replicating the macro dynamic in a micro simulation right here, right now with micro genitalia, by the way. Because many of you males are completely effeminate. You're emasculated. You don't even know that as a man, you're supposed to take an active role in solving these fucking problems. Instead, you sit on the sidelines inactive and cheer for another man to save you like a hoe. Okay? So just look in the chat and you won't have to wonder why we're on or in a prison planet everywhere you go, because these tards will just sit around fighting each other instead of realizing, oh my God, we're in a prison. We're being watched over and ruled over. And the only way out is to go in and through with each other. Pimped and gamed. It's just that easy. Your fellow countrymen are your enemy. That's all you need to know. Go ahead, Julian. I'm on fire today.
No, I was just agreeing with you. It's too scary to do all that inner work. There has to be some type of external thing we can tear apart or claw at to solve all these problems.
Brett Cheesebro, come up. Anybody's welcome to come up. The link is down there for the panel. If you can't click it, you got to type it in the address bar or call in. You're free to tell me all about me and so I can learn, and you're free to tell me all about life so I can learn and be a better me or live a better life. Please get to it.
Yeah, we support our own prison. I don't know if we make our own prison, but we support it for sure.
Right, but he has some other idea about what I'm saying. I just said that in my own words. I'm not separate from this dynamic. I'm just a voice for the collective, so to speak, the spirit, right? The collective consciousness known as spirit of humanity. That's what I'm attempting to do here. I'm speaking from that perspective. But yes, as a human being, as a body, we're all in this together, even if we're not together and in alignment. And we all are manifesting and creating our own and our collective reality on varied levels. Okay, so if you keep believing statute, policy, and code is law, and that the corporation is government, and that the president is your daddy, you're going to manifest fascism, collectivism, statism, and Satanism, Babylonianism, enslavement, genocide. We know that now. Okay, so you can no longer say you don't know. We've always known. The truth has always been here. It's retold over and over again in different forms. You accept it and run with it, or you get what you've always got because you've done what you've always did, based on what you've always believed. As the mind goes, the man follows. Okay, let's go to it, John. Donnie says the tariffs are taking effect. Oh, I had another one here. Yeah, the tariffs are taking effect. This is great for everybody. And we're going to go over 3 times in history where mass tariffs led to Great Depressions. Okay. But I'm sure this one is going to lead to immense prosperity. It's somehow it's different this time, right? That's a key phrase you're going to have to learn if you want to be duped out, pimped and played, and hope. Like hope beyond the fear that runs your life, because fear runs these people's life. And then on the front end, beyond that, they want hope to cope with the fear that runs their life, right? So
how long can hope go on, though? I mean, seriously. I mean, I've been waiting
until these people become hopeless because they realize that they're coped out, duped out, in denial, deceived, and completely disempowered. I look forward to those days where there's no more hope. Hope is as hollow as fear. Then at that point, there will only be God and faith because there's no atheists in foxholes, as they say. Okay?
I just don't understand how anybody can accept anything that comes out of a politician's mouth anymore. I just don't get it.
Love their daddy. It's called broken child syndrome. These people have been born into this house of the statist. The president is their daddy figure. And it's either from their party or not. If it's from their party, well, then it's part of their crew, part of their tribe. And of course, daddy's strong and powerful and we're not. He's representing us though, so he's going to save us any moment. It's the whole world is pimping and hoeing. They just don't know it. That's why this channel is proper instruction motivates people. The acronym is Pimp Unslaved, because the only way to get out and through the pimping and the hoeing is to recognize the deception and unslave yourself and live in an unslaved community. All right, President Trump's putting 100% tariffs on computer chips and many other items. And historically, in history, this always leads to Great Depression. But this time's different because Donnie's an amazing businessman.
Any questions, please?
Mr. President,
yes.
You promised on the campaign trail to bring forth a manufacturing renaissance. You just mentioned $17 trillion in your first 7 months or so.
Right.
Can you talk about how an investment like this, all the other ones that you laid out, will positively impact the millions of Americans that trusted you with their vote?
Thank you very much. It changes our country. I mean, our country is a very different country than it was 6 months ago. And people like Tim are coming. We had Micron in yesterday. We had all of the big, great companies that you read about, you don't know about, but you read about. Many of them were making products outside of our country. Foolishly, we lost them. If we had the right person sitting in that seat, that would have never happened 20 and 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the chip business,
all about the one person sitting in that
left
seat.
Our shores. We had 100% of chips originally, and then we slowly got taken down to nothing. We have the biggest chip companies, the both of them, but we have the biggest in the world coming in. They're going to Arizona and beyond. And we're going to have, in a short period of time, we'll be up to almost 50% of the chips from starting in nothing. And that's something. But we have the greatest companies in the world coming into our country. And that means jobs, and it means wealth. And wealth means security for our people. Okay? Brian?
Yes, sir. Congratulations on this investment, President Trump. And
thank you.
Great example of putting America first. What does the labor force look like to fill these jobs?
Totally, because the average slave can't figure out the difference between America and the United States. It's all the same thing, right? So put United States corporate interests first while demonizing and criminalizing the citizenry and the people using policy and code. And then tell us all about how you're putting America and its people first, right? It's just that easy. Bunch of sound good, feel good rhetoric because the hoes want to hear it. See, men want to see it. That's why there's no more men left on this land, because men want to see it. They go, show me, put it in my hand. Let me see it. Nah, we don't ask for that. We act like a bunch of hoes. Let me hear it, Donnie. Tell me all about how great it's going to be when you're done, because you're Big Daddy. If only Big Daddy was in this chair 24/7, 365, none of this would have happened. Sure, of course. And the hoes march on.
Did you hear one of these
train marches on?
Where one of those data centers are, the data center, uses so much water that they're asking all the people in the area to start restricting their water use so the data center could keep millions of gallons of water they're using for the data centers.
Good. Go ahead. And we got some usual haters here. They can't stand the fact that I have some motion and momentum, some ability, and that I can capture an audience when I'm not shadow banned. And then I have content, non-tent for days and days and days. It upsets them. They don't go away, and they're on alternate accounts. Let me help you out. Jennifer asked me to spend more time, energy, attention with her and on her. I didn't do that. So she went back home. Okay. So I'm not broken up about it. Do I seem overly broken up about it? I love her. I have care for her. If it's not right, it's not right. There's been a disturbance in the force from the beginning with me and her. We've done some great things, had some great experiences. I think we both love and care for each other. But if it's not meant to be at this time, it's not meant to be at this time. Okay. So get the narrative right. Like most women, at a certain point, their view changes on who and what we all are when they get with us. And they want more time, energy, and attention. And if you don't do that, well, then women come up with this bright idea that instead of being thankful and grateful for who you are and the time they have with you, they want all or nothing. So have it your way. Now you get nothing. Okay. So she contacted me and said that she misses me and, you know, this isn't comfortable for her and all the rest of it. Okay. It's your choice. I'm far from perfect. I have my own issues, my own tests and challenges. I'm a triggering motherfucker with anybody in a relationship. I'm not easy to love. Okay. But try to find another gambit where you think I'm weak to try to attack me, where I'm still strong because I hold fast in my faith and trust in the process and the universe that we're all going to get what we need. Okay? And quite frankly, I'm not willing to put who and what I am, what I do, this program, this audience, and the rest of my life on hold to give someone or something else all my time, energy, attention beyond what makes sense for me. Okay. So I've been clear about that in these relationships coming into them. That's just who and what I am. It could be based on my trauma and my growing up without a mother and with a father who was abusive and neglectful. I've gotten really used to and really comfortable with being with myself, focusing on keeping myself and my life together, providing something to my community of service or a product to be somewhat successful, and surrendering the rest in faith. Those who really want to be with me and a part of my life will remain. Those who don't, and the things that aren't meant for me, they will move on. That's just the way life works, okay? So thank you for being here. Thank you for trying. Try to find some other place you think I'm weak so you can attack me to see if I can falter or stumble. Or you can just get away from that false power dynamic and gambit and actually get in alignment with what the fuck I'm talking about and living and be a part of the damn co-creative team and situation. Imagine that, loser, failure, hater. Like I'm going to sit around and my life's going to ultimately change for the rest of my life because a woman came in and left. Big fucking surprise, by the way. It's really hard to tell that with me, of all people, that women aren't going to come and go on some level. You know, like, come on, let's get really real with ourselves and each other. And again, typically, I'm not saying that I'm this completely, but typically throughout history and time, those who are meant to do spiritual practices and go to war typically have that type of relationship with women. They come and they go. They stick around great. If they don't, we move on and we get back to our purpose and meaning, work, our values, our principles. That's what defines us as men, not whether a woman stays or goes or not. Okay. So let me help you. I got to be daddy once again to remind you inauthentic corporate males what being a man looks and feels like. And it's got nothing to do with being accepted or validated by a woman. Oddly enough. I know you simp tricks don't know that.
Daddy's home. Daddy's here. It's okay.
I don't know what's cringier, Donnie Trump hitting on 8-year-olds and his own daughter and saying he wants to fuck her, or that. It's a toss up right there.
There's people like that out there. That's scary.
Julian, you got anything before you move along here? We'll get a couple more clips and then get the hell out of here.
Yeah, no, not much. It's just funny. This trash slave wants you to be like as full of resentment and bitterness as he is over a relationship that you had that they had nothing to do with. It's fucking amazing to actually witness. If they could,
right? We both agreed beyond her saying that at the core we've had anxieties and sort of a misalignment from the beginning. We both had to take account of ourselves and our energetic relationship and be honest with ourselves and each other that from the beginning something has been off. There's been a disturbance in the force. Neither of us has been as feeling safe and trusting as we could be. Right. So we may both have to figure out what that is. And if you go into our background and our history, there's a lot there on both sides, right? So it would make sense that we potentially brought something into the relationship from somewhere else that had a reflective effect, as most things do in the holographic reflective universe, right? So at a certain point, we both kind of decided, listen, we have love and care for each other. We want to be in each other's life, but this isn't good for either of us. There's a push-pull sort of, dynamic going on here, power struggle, energetic shift or exchange, right? So we kind of both decided it's probably best if we take some time, energy, attention away from each other, focus on ourselves and our life, and see where it all goes long term, right? Like they say, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's meant to stay.
Exactly. Yeah.
No shame in my game at the beginning and the end of the day, right? I mean, it is what it is.
Sure. I don't think the majority of these people could ever like reach that space for themselves, let alone for the ones that they may be in relation with in their own lives. It's just something to witness. Wow.
Keep on trucking, Pedro Castillo, my Latino angel. Thank you for your contribution and support, Mr. Pedro Castillo. You are a blessing, as are many others who contribute and support here regularly. And blessings to everyone, including the loser, failure, haters, projectors, rejectors, ignorant, arrogant, Slavish folks out there. But we love you even if we don't like you. We pray for you and extend blessings even if we don't really want to interact with you beyond a certain point. Because it is a long game, right? There is always redemption. The longer you play this out, the more you back up and zoom out, the more it's possible for everyone to be redeemed here in service to truth with true care. Legionnaire's disease outbreak in New York City has already left 70 people sick and 3 dead. All these cases have occurred in central Harlem, which made New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene suspect that something was amiss about the mist being emitted by the cooling towers in the area. So right from Forbes is now one of the biggest conspiracy theorists, technically, I guess, because Forbes is saying there's equipment that's shooting out mist, and the mist is causing Legionnaire's disease, and there's 5 cases of Black Plague as well in that area. So who knows? We may have another test and challenge coming up for everybody's safety. May have to lock it down. I'm always kind of on the edge of my seat at times for that. I'm always looking forward to that. I'm always kind of excited by that. Yes, New York, the land of the free, home of the slave, the big rotten apple itself. Oh, Trump is my king. There we go. I love it. Calling that judgment. Calling that slavery, genocide, and that spiritual judgment. Do more. Give me more in the chat. Come on, guys. Let's do a Luciferian mockery humiliation ritual right here, right now, like U.S. Corporation does all day, every day. I want you to go ahead and put in the chat that Trump's your daddy, Trump's your king, Trump's your savior, Trump's your idol. Saying no to Trump would be like saying no to God. We're going to bring an ending to this quickly, John. We're going to bring an ending to this quickly. Either we're going to bring an ending to it by doing what's true and what's right, or by summoning exactly what these people all want and need. Either way is good for me. I'm good with either one.
Okay.
So go ahead. Now's the time. Now here's the time and place for the sorcery, right? Go ahead and summon it in. I want it. See, they think I'm kidding, that I'm like triggered and upset. No, I want it. Bring it in. Bring in Apollyon, the destroyer. Bring in Shiva, the destroyer of worlds. Bring it in. Totally okay with it.
Abaddon.
There it is. Trump is my savior. We love it here.
How do we know if that's not sarcasm?
Not sarcasm. These are dyed-in-the-wool slaves. Trump has provided us with record-breaking stock market, border crossing, saving massive amounts of money from the best president ever. If we say it, we got a phone call line. 818, are you there, sir?
Yes, please. This
Zohar. Nice to hear from you, Zohar. What can I do for you, sir?
Yes, I want to say just really quick. I come from my country to USA. Same shit. I might as well go back to country.
You're saying that America is so slaved out, you might as well go back to essentially the pits of hell in the Middle East,
yes,
because
please.
somehow, some way, there's less policy, statute, code, collectivism, statism, fascism, especially up in the hills and mountain regions. I hear they got a lot of good guns, fully auto, and a lot of good weed.
I must go there, but I go back to country. Fuck the USA. Because
Right.
same shit like my country.
Yeah, you may as well, man. As a matter of fact, again, certain areas of, ironically, Taliban-controlled Afghanistan, other tribal regions, somewhat more free than United States corporation itself. They don't have thousands of statute policies and codes you got to follow or else be criminalized. It's the weirdest thing. It's pretty much don't cause loss, injury, and harm. And you get this. Don't grow heroin to ship overseas. Yeah, United States corporate citizens don't like that, because they're like the biggest consumers of heroin worldwide. So, when the Mujahideen originally, we have all the tapes, by the way, you may remember, when the Mujahideen said God told them conclusively through some divination to stop growing poppies because 95% of the heroin that was converted from those poppies wound up in United States. United States promptly invaded, took over those poppy fields, and we got them on Fox News 20 years ago or so, guarding the poppy fields for the bad Taliban. We don't know. The good Taliban, bad Taliban, Hillary says. We don't know which one's which, but we do know we promptly came in, took over, guarded the poppy fields, and continued to be cooperative with the supply of 95% of heroin back to United States and America. But tell me all about closing the borders and all the rest of it.
Mr. Unslavious, so you mean I could get heroin right now and go back to country?
Well, where do you think it was all coming from? Kind of like when they said our boys are floating in the water, and then LBJ eventually admitted on record that he didn't see anyone floating in the water and that was fake news that then led to the invasion of Vietnam. And what did the movie American Gangster portray? Well, when they investigated, the cops did, where all the heroin was coming from during that era, guess where it was all coming from, ladies and gentlemen? Another place that U.S. corporation invaded, Vietnam itself. That's what American Gangster with Frank Lucas was all about. It was about the story of them investigating who's doing it all and getting to the top and realizing it was you. It was them. The ones investigating themselves, oddly enough, are bringing in the heroin from all the places we keep going to war. It's the weirdest thing ever, man.
So basically, the United States is the most...
Thank you, Zohar. Go back to your shithole in Libya, wherever else, where Gaddafi tried to make the desert green and allow the people to be free and self-governing, and they stuck a rod up his ass. Right?
Ooh,
yeah. Just like when they hung Saddam after they installed him, right? The U.S. corporation. Oh, we forget about all this. The U.S. corporation is on record installing all these dictators and then having them killed and overthrown once they decide 20 years in that they're done playing ball and they actually want a free nation with prosperous people. It's the weirdest fucking thing ever, guys. We come here every day. Thank you,
Thank you very much,
Zohar.
Mr. Unslavious.
Thank you for being here.
So United States is literally the evil empire, right? Obviously.
Yes, John. They're it's like a relationship with a narcissist. They're the evil empire keeps telling you all that everyone else is bad and something's got to be done about everyone else when they're the ones going to war everywhere all the time.
Countries, though. I mean, there's no other country that does what we do, right? As far as I know.
Not to this level. No, this country, U.S. corporation, not the country, has a monopoly on force and expansionism. Nobody is on the level of U.S. corporation and United Kingdom, right? With their special relationship. When Donnie goes over to the place we fought for independence and bows before a queen, that's Americana, don't you know? In the mind and heart of a slave. In the mind and heart of a slave, when Donnie, the president of a foreign corporation incorporated on the land of America, goes over to UK and curtsies before his queen, that's American. And I have to laugh. It's like that old Beatles song, John. I read the news today, oh boy, and I had to laugh. Slaves are all clamoring for their daddy and the special relationships where they go around the world and pull out chairs for Netanyahu and curtsy to the queen. And they can't figure out what's going on and how it all works. Maybe Donnie should put on a second yarmulke and do this motion at the Wailing Wall. I wonder what this motion is. Isn't that weird? Isn't that phallic motion a little weird? They all do when they come on. They bring them on the tour down to the state of Israel and put them in front of the Wailing Wall. They say, "Open your mouth, get on your knees, and do this motion." So we know who and what you serve, right? Yeah, it's called sucking Shaitan's cock. It was a family broadcast. It's not any longer. I mean, I can't say sucking Shaitan's cock. That is rude and crude and lewd. We don't want the kids hearing that. We do want the kids vaxxed and taxed and laxed and in slavery and genocide, though. That's okay. See the immense hypocrisy? So bring Donnie down. We're going to stick a yarmulke on his head, and we're going to have him fillet the god of that wall down there, right? So we know who and what they all serve. While they pull out chairs for Netanyahu, and while they curtsy and bow before their queen, you pet slaves. But that's just modern day global politics, don't you know, Paul? You're so uncivilized and unreasonable. Well, if you were president, you wouldn't get off the plane and throw a yarmulke on and fillet at the Wailing Wall, Shaitan, the metaphysical deceiver. You wouldn't do that, Paulie boy? To be reasonable and civilized, to get more money? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't bow before your queen to show submission and subservience for more money and more programs? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Because I'm so egotistical and arrogant and narcissistic and prideful. I don't believe it's proper form as an American to go all over the world and suck dick for entitlement programs and beg to pay to be a hoe. No, I don't think that's a good look. But that's just me. LMAO Paul should do some stand-up. They've been saying that for a while. I get that there's something there. Lucky for you and others, I started writing some material. So this must be synchronistic, as most things are. I got at least 5 or 10 minutes so far, and I'll keep writing till I get about an hour or so. I intend to perform that on stage and then whittle it down into something somewhat coherent and continuous. We'll see how that goes. God help us. Jimmy Shively writes, for appreciate you and all you do, sir. Thank you. Blessings to you, Mr. Shively. You got anything, John, before we move along here? Democrats do the same fucking shit. I know, sir. I know. Try to figure out where you are. Try to understand where you are. This isn't one of the tribalist places where we defend the indefensible. They're all bad. I'll say it for the 100th time this broadcast, the 10,000th time over the last year.
What's a Democrat? Are there people in there somewhere? I mean, we keep naming these groups: liberals, Democrats, Republicans. I mean,
it's all the same to me, John.
People involved somewhere, right?
That's why I boil it all down. They're inauthentic corporate males and females who are a part of a corporatist endeavor, and they all engage in the same process to the same ends. They're all collectivist, statist, fascists.
Off and identify a group. And you know, it encompasses all these, whoever they are, these Democrats, Republicans, whatever that fucking means, excuse me. You're not going at, you know, the people, or to be able to discuss something with the person that's, you know, projecting the thoughts that you don't want, or, you know, the life that you don't want.
John, please, we got bigger things to do here. I forgot about. There's so much to get to. It's not your fault. It's my fault. But we agree with you, John. You're usually not wrong, to be clear. 3 times tariffs triggered depressions in American history. American history shows tariffs caused depressions. Notably, high tariffs preceded 3 terrible depressions in history. High tariffs preceded depression of 1837, 1893, and the Great Depression, 1929 and 1941. Tariffs are not only the cause of depressions, but history shows a connection between high tariffs and economic collapse. That's actually a partial truth. That's going to create total confusion. They want to kind of see, there's always some propaganda in there somewhere. There's always a little propaganda to cover up the other propaganda, to reveal some other propaganda. It's fucking amazing. But no, the reason for the Great Depressions are a flawed monetary system backed by nothing tangible that's historically valuable, where we just print up representations or tickets for value and they get inflated and deflated. Okay. And then we add in the lobbying and the entitlement programs and the debt through the bills, through the acts, through the Congressional Congress, who's there to push policy and code for the citizens through acts and bills. And then we have war, right, which is like war of attrition. They all keep saying war is great for the economy. No, it's not. Historically, how the centralized bankers take over is they fund both sides of the two-party system to war each other. And then when there's nothing left, they come in and extend loans to all the poor slaves who fought each other for the last 5 decades. You people are just, it's so low level. It's so shallow. We have to get deeper with this, with the understanding. We have to broaden the understanding. So wars don't stimulate anything long-term Wars are part of that deceptive program to get everybody overly invested, to then tire each other out and deplete resources, and then have to come in and beg the same people who started everything to restart it all and give them a charter and a constitution and extend them credit so they can rebuild their infrastructure, because everyone's poor and broke and everything's blown the fuck up. Get a fucking clue. Sometime this century, another 2,000 years, John, they're going to finally get it, how it all works. They've literally been doing the same garbage since the time of Jesus. These same, literal same families named the same fucking things, doing the same shit from the beginning of time. All right. We did the tariffs. It doesn't matter. Donnie did the tariffs, so tariffs are great. Donnie can't do no wrong if you ask one side of the cult. And of course, if you ask the other side of the cult, Donnie can't do anything right, and anybody's better than Donnie. See how it works?
The consumer ends up paying the tariff, right? So, I mean,
of course, it's always the alpha and omega is man in its purest form, or woo man. That is where everything begins and ends. Man created government. Man commissioned government to have a limited authority to serve man, and the limited folks with the limited authority have taken the keys and the house car. They've locked the house, and now they're telling the owner of the house, I'm the butler and the maid, but I own the house now, and I'm putting my feet on the couch, and I'm masturbating on every seat you have in here. I'm going to lick the windows because I'm in charge. I'm in control. The inmates are running the asylum. And for good reason. When the master of the house acts like a pathetic, disempowered cuck, it makes sense to me that the servants start taking over the house and running it. When the jail guards start acting like pathetic, corrupt cucks and slaves. Wait, no, I have it backward. Hold on.
Prisoners.
I had it right the first time. You get where I'm going, what I'm saying, right? Because again, it's the same dynamic. It could go either way. You know, there are prisons where the people govern themselves, even though they're in the prison, and they expect respect, right? So because they expect respect and some level of dignity, their jailers treat them as such. When you go to a prison where the population has no self-respect and no care and won't stand on nothing, the jail guards treat you all like hoes and property. So this is the lowest level of consciousness. You can even see these dynamics in prison, power and value dynamics. Why would they be any different outside of the prison? Humans are humans involved in a human condition, of course. So again, there's an old cliche one of the founders put forth: a government that's scared of the people brings liberty. A population that's scared of its government brings slavery and tyranny. You figure out which is which. Okay, Netanyahu says firm plans to occupy Gaza, but he'll give it back at some point. And of course, these people are all to be trusted.
Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas.
Security. It's always a safety. Security.
Enable the population.
Slavery for safety.
To pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel. That's what we want to do. We want to liberate ourselves and liberate the people of Gaza from the awful terror of Hamas. And you were in the Gaza Strip today. You met Palestinians who are fighting Hamas because finally they see that they have a future. They can rid themselves of this awful terror.
Right. Finally, they see what you want them to see, which is the same groups you all got caught funding and giving equipment to. You play the victim as if they're attacking you, and then you get a green light to go wherever you want and attack everybody else. Yeah, as he laughs and giggles, because relationship with these corporations is like a relationship with a narcissist. He's laughing and giggling, duping delight as he lies right to your face knowingly. Oh, they all finally started to see that we were just there to keep them safe from this elusive, mysterious enemy that we keep funding and giving equipment to. Right. It's always problem, reaction, solution. It's always Hegelian dialectic. It's always create an enemy, then fight the enemy, then use the fog of war to take over your original enemy. Right. Isn't that always the case? Same thing they did with a war on drugs. It was a war on the people. War on terrorism was a war on the people. We love these people. Cui bono, who benefits? That's what you got to ask yourself in all these situations. Where was it? Oh, right. We just now, hold on. Okay. All right, we'll go to it. I got some satellite uplink footage. My producer's telling me in my ear. We have actual footage of a magatard on the ground and their philosophy. They're going to reveal to us what their philosophy is, John.
Corruption is not bad. Corruption is only bad if I'm not involved.
Yes.
But if I'm part of that corruption, I'll defend it.
Right. That makes sense, John. Corruption's only bad if I'm not part of it. If I'm part of the corruption, I will defend it. That's it. If you want to know, it's a 12-second clip what the spirit of Shaitan does here to divide, kill, steal, and destroy. It's that guy right there. He's not a separate guy. He's speaking the spirit of the deceiver right through him. That's how you all live on both sides. If you think you're part of the team in the corruption, you will defend it or ignore it. See? That's how you get a whole nation, a whole generation of people in bad faith, dishonorable judgment. We were at court. You're all done. You're guilty. You're convicted. Done and over. Send them to the gallows. Because this is what you all show all day, every day. If you think it's beneficial for you and your team, you will ignore or defend corruption. That proves why both sides are doing the same thing and why everybody's dishonorable and bad faith and why we can't have prosperity and success, because that ain't greatness. Okay? That's dysfunction and disempowerment. Should we go Ted Cruz? No, we can do that next time. Ted Cruz, when he had no idea what Iran was, what it was all doing, he's promoting bombing it. And let's go to Clausen. We got a bunch of new viewers here today, and this is one of my favorite clips. Let's get a whole new group, whole new crop of folks up on some game. Okay, here's Mr. Clausen, the Israeli lobbyist who over 10 years ago stood up in front of other governmental authoritative figures. Ooh, you'll really resonate with this. These are people in suits who have false power and lie to everyone and get elected. You'll really think they're credible. He stood up and said, essentially, some folks might say that all major wars in history were created or allowed to happen, and we kind of want to go to war with Iran. So maybe like a submarine goes down and doesn't come up, and who would know why? And then we can get to that war in Iran we've been looking for so long. And of course, he protects himself to the least degree by saying some folks might say. That's the legal speak, right? So no one can ever say Clausen ever actually said anything. He was just reporting what others were saying and doing.
I frankly think that crisis initiation is really tough. And it's very hard for me to see how the United States president can get us to war with Iran. Which leads me to conclude that if, in fact, compromise is not coming, that the traditional way of America gets to war is what would be best for U.S. interests. Some people might think that Mr. Roosevelt wanted to get us into World War II, as David mentioned. You may recall we had to wait for Pearl Harbor. Some people might think Mr. Wilson wanted to get us into World War I. You may recall he had to wait for the Lusitania episode. Some people might think that Mr. Johnson wanted to send troops to Vietnam. You may recall he had to wait for the Gulf of Tonkin episode. We didn't go to war with Spain until the until the Maine exploded. And may I point out that Mr. Lincoln did not feel he could call out the Federal Army until Fort Sumter was attacked, which is why he ordered the commander at Fort Sumter to do exactly that thing which the South Carolinians had said would cause an attack. So if, in fact, the Iranians aren't going to compromise, it would be best if somebody else started the war. One can combine other means of pressure with sanctions. I mentioned that explosion on August 17th. We could step up the pressure. I mean, look, people, Iranian submarines periodically go down. Someday one of them might not come up. Who would know why? We can do a variety of things if we wish to increase the pressure. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just suggesting that this is not a either-or proposition of, it's just sanctions has to succeed or other things. We are in the game of using covert means against the Iranians. We could get nastier at that.
So there's Clausen. We got a caller on the line. There's Clausen.
Can you hear me?
1 second, sir. We got a caller on. Can you not hear me?
Hi.
Hi, can you give me 1 second?
Can you hear me now?
What can I do for you, sir? Question, comment, concern?
Speak up a little bit.
I'll see you later. So that's Clausen. intimating and pretty much outright saying that all the major wars in history that we know of were made to happen or allowed to happen in order to get to a goal beyond what has been told and shown. And synchronistically, 10 or 15 years later, we're now involved in proxy wars with Iran, and Trump's moving submarines into certain places, right? So be on the lookout for that anytime now. Coincidentally, a submarine maybe goes down, doesn't come up. We blame Iran, and we go full on kinetic World War III style.
You think Japan's attack was serious, or were they just playing their role in the script?
We know that. The documents are all there. The radio.
I know. Well, I knew Roosevelt knew that they were coming. I'm just saying.
They knew they were on their way. They allowed them to attack Pearl Harbor in order to create the image that we were attacked in cold blood and there's nothing we could do and something must be done. Same gambit has happened over and over again, right? We got the towers, 3 towers, 2 planes, New York. You know the deal. You know the rap. Over and over again. 7:05. Questions, comments, concerns. Your thoughts?
I just never thought about it from the Japan.
1 second, John. We got a caller.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, what can I do for you?
Oh, you remember me?
Sure. What can I do for you? Questions, comments, concerns.
Hi, yo, real quick, y'all outbound him. This is him.
I can't understand you.
Lover 88. We played together online. I beat your pig nose in the game. You was talking smack about my mama.
I'll see you later. Have a good day. 602-730-0122. Call in if you're retarded like the rest of these people and you want to put it on full display. I'm totally for that. It makes my point for me. Or if you have an actual question, comment, concern, or presentment, I'm open for that as well. No shortage of retarded, dumbed down citizen slaves who have nothing else to do with their life, so they think, other than play power and value games with somebody else who has something going for them. I get it. I get how that works. I'm open to it to a limited degree. I know what I'm getting when I come on here. If you are a political cuckold, you have no dog in this fight. I agree with you. I'm not sure if you're agreeing with me or not. Time to enjoy life. Let you all enjoy your pile of shit. Mud cakes for you all. Great. That's good stuff. You don't have to tell us how great your life is. Just go off and experience it. We're not believing you. Keep talking. You keep pushing more Americans toward Republicans. That's fine. On the journey to awakening and awareness, there are stops. Typically, it goes from atheist to agnostic to spiritually faithful. And the same thing applies when it comes to political science, right? You're a leftist and a liberal because you think they're about freedom and the dignity of the individual. And then you come over to the Republican Party because you think they're the party of limited government. And then at some point, you walk out of Babylon altogether and realize it's all a false choice, deception, and ruse. Okay? Free and great doesn't include a corporation. It's the weirdest thing ever, I know. I can't say it enough. People don't take you seriously, buddy. That's you. You're a nameless, faceless loser in chat who has probably no value and power truly in your life. That's not me. And there are dozens and hundreds and thousands of people who take me and what I do seriously. And we know that here. So again, you folks need some more mirror time. You need to figure out what you're projecting onto me is true for you, more true for you, way more true for you than it is for myself. But hey, whatever you need to do to cope, I am choosing love here. I'm choosing to accept you, whether I tolerate you or not. And that's what you need. A good dose of cope to get through the day. Okay, sovereign citizen movement. We got China successfully implanted 3D blood vessels into monkeys. Breakthrough of 3D technology and medicine can bring hope to nearly 1.8 billion heart patients. So some updates on the medical front. China figuring out how to 3D print organs and implant them into human beings. I can't see how this is going to go wrong.
Oh, God.
I'm sure everything will get better immediately. Maybe the slave masters and the slaves can live forever in a self-generated, hallucinatory non-reality where they all get to repeat this crap together. Maybe inside of a hard drive somewhere. Maybe we're already inside of a hard drive. When.
So they're creating a blood cell from nothing? Is that what you're saying? Or are they using something from an... another human and just like cloning it or something.
Oh, they're synthesizing it. They're creating it essentially from nothing. They're overtaking the position of the God of creation. We know what time we're in. 808, your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Hello.
Questions, comments, concerns, sir. Go ahead.
It's your neighbor.
I'll see you later. Have a good day. Okay, we got a video from Wizard here, apparently. The people are giving me. It was just uploaded recently. If you've been here for a while, you remember Wizard. He's looking for love.
Hi. I'm looking for a white lady that's tattooed and dominant and be willing to put me in a dress and beat the shit out of me.
Oh, you must be a voting citizen slave, huh? Yeah.
I'm a sissy of Fremont Street.
You know what I just realized? I didn't segue properly. Not only is this Wizard looking for love, this is literally the speech the average voting citizen slave on the left or right gives out all day, every day. This is exactly how I picture them. When they show up to vote at the little curtain desk, they get under the curtain, right? And that's what's actually going on. I never knew because I've never voted, so I've just seen it from the outside. They go into these gyms and then they go in under these desks that have curtains draped over them. And they're like pulling levers in there or something. I didn't know what they were pulling on. This is what's going on in there. They all come before a screen and they announce all in unison together that they're looking to get pegged and cucked. They're looking to get put in a dress and treated like a good citizen slave. And that's why we get the outcome we do. This is great.
Sissy Gemini.
Yeah, sissy
Again,
citizen.
You stupid white bitch. That's what I'm looking for, is a stupid tattooed white bitch that'll put me in a dress.
Those are the ones in my chat, right? These are the citizen slaves in my chat. They get a little uppity. They go, listen, you stupid white bitch. I want to be pegged and cucked and put in a dress. And if I say it, it's going to happen. I go, all right. I'm not stopping you. I'm not interfering with your right to get cucked and put in a dress. Don't get mad at me.
Call me. 22. I'm waiting, you white slut. Hi.
I want that again, John. I want it again.
For a white lady.
Looking for a white lady.
Tattooed.
Right.
And dominant.
Uh-huh.
And be willing to put me in a dress.
Yeah.
And beat the shit out of me. Honey, I'm the sissy of Fremont Street.
Oh.
In Fremont. Sissy Gemini. Again, you stupid white bitch. That's what I'm looking for. You tattooed white bitch that'll put me in a dress and beat the shit out of me.
That's how they show up at my chat. Listen, you stupid white albino bitch, mongoloid. I'm looking for a president to put me in a dress. Okay? That's what I want. How dare you try to stop it? I'm not stopping it, okay? I'm learning to like it and love it. You folks like it, I love it. John, are you wanting to say something?
No, I was just wondering to myself, was that a bit or was that a legitimate?
No, that's a real slave. That's an actual slave. No bit there. Well, you can't believe that slave exists in that capacity? Come on. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
The report found that 92% of beaches tested in the state had potentially unsafe levels of fecal indicator bacteria, okay? So I hate to break the news, but the majority of slaves are swimming in actual urine and feces, and that makes sense because of what I've laid out earlier in this broadcast. So check for that. Check on that. This is specifically on Ohio, this story here, but I'm guessing that that's coast to coast, brown sea to shining brown sea. Yeah, you might want to check on that, get that tested. That might be where the Black Plague Legionnaire's disease is coming from. Everyone bathing in feces and urine while begging to get put in a dress and be ruled over. Pretty much a living hell, some might argue. Video beluga whales wash ashore is unrelated to Russia quake. Do we even want that? Do I even care? No, I don't care.
The one where they look like there's like 30 mermaids swimming in the water after the earthquake, after the tsunami. Did you see that?
Were they
video?
Republican or Democrat mermaids?
I'm not sure.
I
think they were liberal, but I'm not sure.
These damn liberal mermaids.
Just a video I saw. It looked like a bunch of mermaids swimming in the water after the quake and the tsunami came or whatever. But, you know, it's just a video, so it could be AI or whatever. So I can't claim any truth to it.
All right, John, this is the point of the broadcast where I'm going to ask all the folks, even the loser, failure, hater slaves who don't like me and are just here to like love to hate me. I give you somewhere to be and something to love to hate. So like, share, subscribe, restream. Come on. You know, it's the least you could do. Okay. Give back. all you Republicans, all you Democrats, one thing in common is you can definitely do more and give back, okay? For America, for the children, for black people, okay? Yeah, for black people. Do it now. You got any final words, Sean? I think we're going to wrap up here. Rather energetic, rather insightful, and also inspiring and inciting broadcast. Went by fairly quick. You know, we covered a good bit of combinations of people, places, and things and subjects, and we had some audience engagement. Stellar broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and say it for me, about me. And of course, you, John, you were a part of it. What would this broadcast be without John? We know that. Okay? I don't want to leave you out. Final words.
Good to add some background scenery, right?
My chief of staff came to me. They said, "Sir, these people, they love John. Well, we love these people. Love these people." Go ahead, John. Give these people a final word. Tell these people you love them.
People in the chat. I never said the moon disappeared. I just said I didn't see it, and I think I figured out what happened. Just so you guys know. I know you're only fucking with me though, so it's cool.
Yeah, but we love you, John. We love you. We love these people. You're amazing. These people are amazing. This broadcast is amazing. I'm amazing.
It's a bit now, right?
No, kind of. It's always a bit non-bit. There's always some truth in the jest.
I agree.
Seriously,
with that,
give a final word. Come on, get the hell out of here. We're done.
I agree.
We're over.
Dude, it's only 2.5 hours and you're pushing me away. I mean, I sat here and listened to you for,
you gotta leave them wanting more sometime, John. When I'm in the algorithm and we put up our numbers and we're ending on a high note, we're leaving them wanting more. They're gonna like, they're gonna share, they're gonna restream, subscribe, they're gonna come back tomorrow or whenever we're back here. And they're gonna be a part of whatever it is that we're doing here. Right? They're gonna get something out of it.
Good today. I mean, it was nice to see.
This is what it would be all the time if I was given the same privileges and benefits of many other folks we won't mention, right? If Paulie Boy wasn't the enemy with rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, this is how it would look all the time, John. And we'd get 200 to 300 subscribers a day, and we'd have 500,000 subs by now, and we'd be doing 2,000 to 5,000 live viewers. But, we got to take whatever's meant for us from God, from the devil, everything in between. It is as it's meant to be, one way or the other. So we're thankful and grateful, John. Again, I'm amazing. You're amazing. These people are amazing. This broadcast is amazing. YouTube and Google is amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah. Life is amazing. This country's amazing.
Shout out to Ghislaine and Alligator Alley, John, please. Shout out to Ghislaine. Amazing woman. She's an amazing woman.
Hey, is Trump going to pardon
please,
her?
final words. John, please, final words.
Fuck,
Trump is your daddy. He's living in your heads. No, he's living in your heads, and I'm having to make the broadcast Trump-centric at times to get you tards to tune in and focus on something other than a shiny pair of keys because you're like a bunch of infants, right? I either have to talk about Donnie Trump or I have to do this to get you folks to focus. Look at the keys, Junior. See the keys? Shiny. Special keys. Keys to my heart. You've got them. Come on, John, please. Final word. You're just going to keep sitting there and staring at me?
Yeah. You don't mind it for the majority of the show.
Well, now it's time to leave.
Now it's a problem?
Now I want to be alone with my thoughts.
Okay.
I must seek solitude so I can come back in the rare form of God of all media that I have portrayed here today. That's not an easy feat, John. It requires a lot from me, energetically and spiritually. I must retire to my isolational solitude at this time.
I just think if people really want to get the press, they should take a look at that GAO report because that just ended everything. I mean, it's all nothing's real. Nothing. All right, I'm going to leave.
Thank you.
Leave you with your thoughts and whatever. Say goodnight to chat. Appreciate
good night, chat.
The derogatory comments. I appreciate all those as well.
We need these people. Okay? Right. We need them to be in the algorithm. They have to hate. We need them to hate so we can use them for their energy. All right, I love you, John. I'm putting you out.
Love you too. Take care.
All right, everybody. Oh, we got another call. Let's see who this is. 604, your thoughts?
What?
604. Questions, comments, concerns?
Hey, it's your neighbor.
All right, what can I do for you, neighbor? You got to make it quick. I'm signing off. I'm out of here.
Listen, I got a package for you.
Right.
The delivery service delivered it to my door, but it's got your address on it.
Yeah, no, it's for you though. That's the thing. It's got my address on it, but it's from me to you.
Can I open it up?
No. It's not meant to be opened up. It's meant to be shoved up your ass.
Well, I'm opening it up.
No. Open your ass and shove the package in there. It's a special delivery. That's where it belongs. That's how it was intended
It's got
to be.
some stuff in it. Do you still want it?
Okay. All right. I'll see you later. Have a good day. All right, folks. Back who knows when. Like, share, subscribe, restream. Blessings to all the contributors and supporters. Blessings to everybody. Why not? Okay. It's free love here. Love is free. Like the libtards. We're one of the libtards in that sense. Love is free even if I don't like you. You know, I can practice loving all people, places, and things, whether I tolerate them or accept them. I can practice being in love with it, right? Showing love. Peace is available. What do we got on the way out? Paul unsafe on the way out. Say goodnight to the bad guy. Bye. We got a lot of folks, especially over the past couple weeks and months, getting on the bandwagon of protesting. And they've come here for years, and it just goes right by their ears that activism has nothing to do with protesting. Protesting is essentially glorified complaining. You want attention, you want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want your opinion to matter, but you don't want to actually have to do something to get on the radar. You don't want to actually have to do something to be seen as credible and resolute. Okay? That doesn't work. You may have a voice, you may speak the truth matters, but your voice and your persona and character attached to that voice and that presentation doesn't matter if you're not creating the solution. You're just whining and complaining. Newsflash. Government is not government, it's a corporation. We can go over it till I turn blue. The folks still seemingly on the whole won't get it. Their job here is not to keep you safe, even though they say it is. I know that confuses a lot of people. They say this, but they do this. Yeah, it's called lying. You folks do it to yourself and everyone else every day. Why should they do it back to you? So I'm just kind of confused why so many citizen slaves who identify as corporate slaves lie to themselves and everyone else all day, every day, and then expect their keepers not to do the same. They're pimps. So here's a clue. Understand the truth, cause and effect, live the truth, sacrifice, get a result, and then maybe your masters and your keepers will start to take you as credible rather than just whining and complaining, wanting to be seen and heard. You can't say that the solution hasn't been brought forth because outside of every majority is a minority experience of actual solutions, and that's exactly why it's a minority experience, because the majority of folks don't want to actually have to change themselves and their life and bring the solution. They want to be able to whine and complain and vote and be seen and heard like a child and have a voice and think mommy and daddy are going to change the way they've been running the house for however many years. Probably not going to happen. So the more you keep begging them and asking them and opting in and buying in, the more they're going to keep doing whatever they want and claiming you asked them for it. Everybody wants to use God and use government. They don't want to be used by God to be the proper government of and by and for the people. That means opting out, self-sufficient, self-sustainable, co-creative, and not cooperating and complying with contracts and obligations that are expected of you that may not be wanted by you, accepted by you. It's very interesting that as someone who took an oath to the Constitution, because you apparently don't know where your rights come from in that contract that says from God, you somehow stick to the phrase or the ideology that we have to give up rights in order to fulfill societal obligations. If I had to come up with an idea or a mission statement, would be we have to give up some of our benefits and privileges and potentially safety in order to secure our rights. So I always find it interesting how you just ask somebody who and what they are, what they're doing, what's their philosophy, what's their credo, and they reveal the core of their beingness. in one phrase. So I, for one, am not willing to give up my natural rights in order to carry out societal obligations to a legal society and a legal system, nor do I believe that's beneficial to myself or anybody else, nor is it necessary. What I do believe is that I have had to, and others may have to, give up some of their comforts, their benefits, their privileges, maybe even their safety, because safety in a way is a benefit, it's a privilege, it's an entitlement. In the natural world, right, of it or not, you're not guaranteed safety. You have to, in a way, co-create that or experience it. So, yeah, I stand in that camp, if you want to call it that. We may have to give up some of our safety, some of our comforts in order to secure our rights and property. It's beyond pimping and hoeing. So if they're calling you a sovereign citizen, a conspiracy theorist, pick something, right? Pick one of their buzzword terms. If they're calling you that or saying all people who do these things are that, you know you're on the mark. Because that's their deep state, Tavistock, secret society, however you want to phrase it. That's their way of getting out ahead of it and convincing the group that there's no point in looking at that, right?
Skibbity bop watch your step now. Jump back, catch the law. Just the other day I was watching the chat. Half the slaves was talking about they homeboy Jack. Did you see what he said? OMG, what'd he say? OMG, I'll have to tell you I was watching all day. Those cupcake motherfuck turds don't know how to be free. If they only knew the law, they could see what I see. I know the law really well, cause I read UCC. If I was a life coach, listen to me. That's you, caught in the drift, waiting for a sign, looking for a leader that you can't define. That's you, stuck in an echo, never breaking free. You follow the current, but you don't even see. Skibbity bop. The night dude was talking real bold, dropping terms like sovereign and common law gold. Nah bro, see, I got the docs right here, I just ain't filed yet, it's the wrong time of year. Trust me, I've studied it, I know what to do, but the county clerk's shady and the judges are true. I'm just waiting till it's safe and I know I'll get paid, maybe when Saturn is back in retrograde. Besides, I gotta stay low for a while. They're watching IPs and I got a profile. Anyway, I'm working on phase 1 of the plan. He went quiet when asked, you ever stood as a man? That's you, caught in the drift, waiting for a sign, looking for a leader that you can't define. That's you, stuck in an echo, never breaking free. You follow the current, but you don't even see. Skibbity bop. Like he owned the place, typing all caps with the crooked face. Oh great, more soft sit clown shit here. Where's the tinfoil clowns and the flat earth queers? Let me guess, you don't pay taxes. You should be arrested, a criminal felon who didn't get his vaxes. I'm telling you, I know the law better than you. I read the USC, my lawyer knows what to do. What I want to know is, why are you free? That, and please tell me what you're offering me. He's a fed, he's a fraud, he's broke, he's a broke. He probably lives in a pod, he's Illuminati. Nah, he's just fake. I could do it better if I caught a break. They're all in on it, it's a psyop feed. Anyone got a link to the doc I need? That's you, caught in the drift, waiting for a sign, looking for a leader that you can't define. That's you, stuck in an echo, never breaking free. You follow the current, but you don't even see. Skibbity bop bop. dabba dabba dow, ticka tacka tacka pop, dibbity dow, 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 dow. Whoa, bada, whoa, bada, whoa, yeah. That was me, caught in the drift, waiting for a sign, looking for a leader I could never define. That was me, stuck in my echo, caught in the feed, following the current I thought was me. Skippity bop bop.
You can't treat him like any of the other niggas around here because he ain't like any of the other niggas around here. You got it?